What's going on, PTG fam? Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This is an awesome episode. We are so excited for you guys to hear this one. As always, they've been a ton of fun, and this one with Nick LeValley does not disappoint. This episode is brought to you by Heal Brand CBD. Heal Brand is a tremendous CBD company that we have fallen in love with. We are so excited to be partnered with them. The most important thing they have is nanotechnology. What that means is the CBD is more bioavailable. So a lot of traditional CBD companies, they say that it takes about a week for you to start noticing the benefits and getting better sleep, feeling better, feeling a little more relaxed. Nano CBD, you feel right away. Basically what happens is it can break through the cellular wall because the nanotechnology breaks down the CBD into such a small micronized formula that you can absorb it incredibly fast. Your body not only absorbs it faster, but more efficiently. So with other CBDs, I used to take about 70 to 80 milligrams out of the tinctures per night to get really good sleep. With the Nano CBD, I only need like 10 to 15 milligrams. It's amazing. But what I love about this company even more is not their amazing CBD tincture product, which is fantastic, the CBD oil, but it's their knockout shots. Their knockout shots, it comes in a little container that kind of looks like a 5-hour energy. They actually have an energy one as well called Amp, but my favorite, again, is the knockout. So the knockout comes with 10 milligrams of nano CBD, and it also comes with a bunch of other amazing stuff: melatonin, valerian root, all sorts of natural ingredients that help you get the best night of sleep of your life. Sleep is important, everybody. It is the most important thing to recovery, to feeling good, to not having anxiety throughout the day. I know that when I don't get proper sleep, I have a day full of anxiety, lack of energy, lack of confidence. And that's no joke. I know a lot of people relate to that. Sleep is so crucial. It's something I've been a big proponent of for years. And this has been the best sleep aid that I could possibly imagine. I, used to use things like Z-Quil or Tylenol PM, things like that when I would travel, and those are just so bad for you. They're not good for the brain. It rewires your brain chemistry. You don't want that. This brand, Heal Brand, they just have a ton of amazing products. So you guys have to check them out. We love them. They support us. They're one of the sponsors of the show, personal sponsors of Tyler and myself, and we know you guys will absolutely love their products. Head over to healbrand.com. That's HEALBRAND.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout. You get 10% off. It's our way of extending our sponsorships to you guys, and we hope that you guys enjoy the products. We know you will. It truly is the best CBD product that I have ever used. Hands down, no questions asked. This episode is also brought to you by G2 Paintball. G2 Paintball is crushing it in the space right now. They're having multiple events, especially throughout this fall and heading into the winter out in Arizona. You guys get out there and get taught by some of the very best. They're going to teach you how to be a better paintball athlete. They're going to teach you how to dominate your position. Everything is geared around teaching you how to excel on the paintball field, which is so important. So many people go out there and they train all the time, but they're training the wrong way. You go to the gym, you're doing a bunch of bicep curls, you're making sure that you're fit, you're in shape, you think you look good, but are you actually paintball fit, which is an entirely different thing. G2 Paintball also teaches you how to play the game. They have amazing on-field training programs. They've been out to the Paintball Combine. They're well established. They are owned and operated by Rusty Glaze and Victor Gamboa, managers and coaches and assistant coaches of San Diego Dynasty. So the pedigree is there. G2 Paintball is amazing. You have myself, Tyler Harmon, Brandon Unger, working very close with them, and I know Ryan Greenspan also will be out there hosting some of these events in the near future. So please, guys, check out G2 Paintball. They are amazing. They have tons of opportunities for you guys to take your game to the next level. That is at g2paintball.com. Again, that is paintball.com. Check them out. See if there's an event near you. Oh, I forgot to say, it's incredibly affordable. So cheap to go out to some of these events. It's amazing. It is a win-win. Everybody that has gone has noticed tremendous success, so check them out. This episode is also brought to you by Transfuse. Transfuse, as you guys know, one of our absolute favorite brands. They're just amazing in everything they do. Their branding, their entire mission, their products, their ingredients. Transfuse is almost as good as it gets, and I don't see how you can make their product any better. Low sugar, great electrolyte replenishment. Also has these amazing immune system boosting vitamins like vitamin C, zinc, vitamin B for the brain, keep the brain firing on all cylinders. This stuff is fantastic. Over 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C. Really going to boost your immune system. And in times like this, that is more important than ever. It is so good. So good. Zinc has been proven over and over through many studies, peer-reviewed studies, to reduce the duration of the common cold and protect you from respiratory illness. Make sure that your immune system is strong. This stuff is fantastic. It's like taking Pedialyte or Gatorade, taking away the bad stuff from it, like sugar, and adding stuff that is also going to help your immune system. And here's this. I have not been talking about this enough because of all the other amazing ingredients, but what Transfuse also has is choline. Choline is an amazing brain boosting vitamin. It is something that I used to take on a regular basis in kind of a big pill form. So to have it now in my powder is absolutely amazing. What it does, it improves memory and cognition. It protects the heart. It can boost your metabolism. It helps with recovery in all things. A lot of bodybuilders will take choline because it replenishes the mental fatigue and the physical fatigue from these workouts. This stuff just has everything you need. Transfuse. Get it while it's hot. I highly recommend the watermelon lime. However, a lot of people have been saying they love the blue raspberry. Tyler's favorite is the tropical bliss. So many good flavors. And if you guys use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, you'll get 10% off. And it's an amazing way to support the show. We appreciate it. And in addition to that, I got to let you guys know, if you do become a subscriber, you get a subscription with Transfuse. What that means is you sign up for auto ship. So each month they will charge your card for whatever you want. If you want 1 boxes a month, 2 boxes a month, whatever it is you sign up for, whatever flavors, they'll automatically charge you and automatically ship your stuff. So every month you don't even have to worry about it. You just boom, boom, bang. Stuff shows up at your door. You could take care of yourself. You can drink this stuff every day. I do not leave my house without it. When I travel, I drink this every single day. Sometimes I have 2 packets a day because I want my immune system, especially during these times, to be boosted. I want to be hydrated. Hydration is key to mental function, mental cognition, overall happiness, your well-being. You got to be hydrated, ladies and gentlemen, so please try this stuff. If you do subscribe to where you get on that subscription plan, you get an extra 11% off. So that is a total of 21% off if you become a subscriber of Transfuse and you use code PLAYTHEGAME. You guys can check this out at translabs.com. That's TRANZLABS.com. Check it out. See if it's for you. At least try this stuff. It is amazing. It has made myself and Tyler feel so much better, so much more energized. I love it. I truly do. All right. Without further ado, we're going to hop in this show because it was such a darn good one. We can't thank Nick LeValley enough. Nick LeValley is a top-level elite paintball athlete, somebody who has won everything there is to win. He's a great mind in the game, and we can't wait for you to listen. So, we'll see you in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Yo, my brother, Nick LeValley. It's so good to have you on the show, man. Hope you're doing well out there. Where exactly are you tuning in from right now?
So I live in Denver, sort of in between Boulder and the city proper. And I mean, I don't really like to go in that way. Usually I'm going the other way towards the less people. But yeah, that's where I'm tuning in from.
Nice, dude.
Big Nick, the Wall, LeVall, the man, the myth, the legend. Hell yeah, dude.
Yep.
We're stoked to have you on. And actually, I got to give a shout out because you just listened to our intro there. And there's a little bit of inspiration actually from your podcast that you had.
Oh, nice.
You guys have a cool.
Did you do that yourself?
Ronnie Dizon helped us
Oh,
actually.
sweet. That's
Like,
awesome. He's a
dude,
good dude.
Ronnie was so amazing through this whole. I can't even begin to explain how stupid I am with computers, and
Right,
I think maybe Tyler too.
Oh,
But
I'm right there with you.
we're like basically learning how to count to 10.
Yeah.
with
but
all
good
this
for
stuff.
you. You know, ask for help and get quality. So thank you,
Yeah.
Ronnie, for that's
Hey,
a sweet one.
Look,
Dude.
you always gotta look at the people that are doing it well and figure out how,
Yeah.
and don't be afraid to ask the questions. Right? People let their ego get in the way of that.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
he's
the truth?
dude. He's the man. Ronnie, thank you very much for everything you've
Yeah.
done for us, brother. And we were actually just out in the Denver area not too long ago doing a little clinic out there. I love it out there, dude. The mountain ranges are unreal, and I'm the biggest fan of all these different mountain ranges around the world, and you have some of the best
Yeah.
mountains in the world out there for sure.
Well, that's cool because like that field you guys went to, I'm gonna do a clinic there probably in October, and that
Oh,
owner
nice.
is really cool. And
Yeah.
Tom, yeah, he's sweet. So it's cool
I
that you
just
guys got to go to that field, and like it's a new field. You know, they got one speedball field, but it's quality. You know, it has turf,
Yeah.
new bunkers. It's
Yeah.
so I'm glad you guys made it out here.
Yeah, they actually have a couple fields out there. They have an indoor field in Phoenix. They have an indoor field in Denver. They have the outdoor, and I thought they had one more, but maybe not. I think it's 3 total.
Yeah, I've
Right?
been to the indoor field because I mean, as you guys know, snow
Yeah,
exists
totally.
out here. Not so
Yeah.
much in your neck of the woods, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, that outdoor
Snow.
field is
What's snow?
unusable. Okay, actually, tonight is going to be the biggest temperature change in Colorado in all of recorded history.
Yeah,
Today,
right.
it's 90 degrees.
Dude.
Tomorrow, it's snowing. Less than
What?
30. Yes. Yes.
That's a
crazy,
red
dude.
flag. Red flag.
Oh, I'm totally with you. Yeah, if this was
Yeah.
a girlfriend,
Yeah.
I'd probably be out of there. Like that, those temperature changes are
That's right.
not something to mess with.
So hold on. You're doing a clinic at Tony's Field in October. Let's give the
Yeah.
listeners, if anyone's in the area, they absolutely have to come. We
Yeah,
definitely
for
have a ton of
sure.
Denver listeners.
We haven't decided the date yet. I just got in contact with him today, actually. So
Okay.
sometime in October,
Nice.
probably mid late.
Nice.
But
That's
if you're in the
awesome.
Denver area, for sure, come out. We might have a special guest putting that together too. So just
I
like
like
you
that.
guys put your two awesome paintball brains together, you know, like you gotta ride that mentality. You gotta share that knowledge.
Absolutely.
It's a really good balance to have somebody with you. I love when we get to do the clinics with Tyler. I've obviously done a lot with Ryan. I mean, you and I, the three of us just did a clinic,
Yeah.
in Boston, and it really is good for the participants to be able to have all that different perspective, be able to ask different questions to different players, because everyone looks at the game a little differently,
Yeah, and not only that is we all learn differently. Like I
Yes.
didn't do very well outside of school, but when I was in the classroom, I'm a really good listener, and that's why I listen to podcasts and books because that's how I learn.
Yeah.
And so like for example, some of my favorite times during the clinic was when we would all be standing in a circle with all of the participants and we'd be talking about the same thing, but I'd be explaining it one way and then you'd be explaining it another, and then like you see kids light bulbs go off like one at a time with all the different ways to explain one thing. So
Yeah.
you know, it's really good to have that ability to share different ways.
Oh, it's so important, man. That's such a great point, dude. And that's why, like you said, it's all about clicking up and all the pros getting together and teaching in all the different ways that we can. And huge shout out to Boston Paintball for having us out there. That was a really fun event that we did.
Yes.
Always fun out there in the Boston area. Love those dudes.
Well,
out
it's
there.
amazing what Anthony and Boston Paintball do for paintball. Like they really
Yes.
put on a lot of stuff, and even during this pandemic, the amount that they've wanted to put on and do for paintball, and usually it's about bringing people up in level. It's not even about competition as much, which most of the sport is in general, which of course brings us all there, but like it's more about bringing people in the community together, and you know that's what keeps people coming back and loving the game.
Totally, dude. Hey, it's funny that you talked to Tony today. I actually just talked to him today as well.
Oh,
and
weird.
yeah, we're going to be doing like a one-on-one tournament for the local AZ area out at one of his fields.
No way.
Yeah, at American
Dude,
Paintball Coliseum. So might have to have you over here, Marsh, and get involved with that. We're looking at doing that in
love
like
that.
November. So keep
Is
your
that
ears
the
open.
Very cool.
format
Very
with the small towers, the temples?
This is actually going to be a little different. It's just going to be like a 5-minute set and then a race 2 kind of format with a one-on-one,
Oh,
I think
wow.
is what we're going to do. And then just to kind of get people playing paintball and put on a little event for the local area. He was super intrigued about doing it. So I tried to, get whatever kind of last brain cells I have together to formulate a plan to get this event going for him.
No, that's
Nice.
awesome, Ty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's fire up those few brain cells.
Yeah,
But
that's all I got, dude.
so silly. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's really cool that, like, it's staying active and keeping people playing because, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't been able to play much as I have in the last, what, like 7 years, and it
Yeah,
is really taking a toll on me. So, like, I
dude.
cannot wait to get back to the competition. It's like life without purpose.
Oh
Paintball has
man.
been my purpose for as long as I can remember, and,
Yeah.
like, without that, it's like, "Alright, do I find something new, or do I hold out hope
Hold
for, like,
up.
Yeah.
let's get like, come on?" And right now, I'm holding out hope because I just love that game so much, so
Of course.
I'm riding right in the middle. I picked up golf and
yeah, there you
that's
go.
been dude, it's been so fun. I actually just got back from an amazing trip. I literally drove back
Oh,
from Mesquite
yeah.
this morning. So I've got a full camera roll of stuff that you guys will be seeing pretty soon. But dude, I went to visit my little brother and my mom they live in Mesquite, Nevada. It's like an hour north of Las Vegas. Um,
Such
population of
a
like 18,000 people.
underrated outdoor spot too. Because outside of Vegas, if you guys are going to Vegas just for the gambling, please drive an hour in any
Yeah.
direction. It is
Yes.
so cool.
Yes, dude, Nick, actually, I saw well, we'll get to that in 1 second. I'll give a
Mhm.
quick little rundown of what I did. So,
Yeah, for sure.
um, from Mesquite, Zion is like an hour and a half drive, right? So we drove to Zion, did that whole thing, did the Canyon Outlook, we were on kind of a time constraint, so that kind of stunk. I'm definitely going to go back and explore much more, but we got to do some cool stuff. So we saw Zion. We went to this area called Pine Valley in Utah. This beautiful lake up in the mountains, just absolutely gorgeous. Everyone goes out there. You just have some picnics, hang out. There's a bunch of camping grounds. Gorgeous. Got to do that.
It looked unreal, dude. Those
Yeah.
pictures that I saw are
Zion
crazy.
is well known to be like top of the list national park, so I'm super jealous that
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
go. Like,
Me
definitely, I'm
too.
glad that you enjoyed it. Because if you
Ha-
came back from there saying you didn't, I'd be like, all right, dude, Marcel's
We're-
right
Yeah.
up. You know what I
we're
mean?
not friends. Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah,
you
you
can not
could.
enjoy that. I mean, one, I'm sure we'll get into this at some point too, but it's just amazing how nature can do something like that. And over hundreds of millions of years, through whether it's ice melting and the rocks and minerals that get flown, drained through that area, create the patterns and the design on the side of these rocks. Like
Mhm.
Zion used to be sea level, and now it's this massive, I think it's like 8,000 feet. I'm throwing that number out. I could be totally wrong. Have you been, Nick? Have you been to Zion?
I haven't. No, it's at the top of my
Oh,
list. I'm
man.
supposed to drive out there. I think last month we planned that like a year ago, but me and my buddy were like, maybe now's not the time, so we didn't do
Yeah.
it.
Dude, it's just breathtaking. Like you just stand there and you just feel so small and insignificant in a way,
Yeah.
but also like it just gives so much more meaning to being present, in my opinion. That's how I felt, it's
Yeah,
just
and going into what you're saying about how long it took to create that stuff, like I went to art school, so like I've looked at a lot of art for various classes and like to go to museums and stuff, but like
Yeah.
you can almost feel in a piece of art how long someone spent on it, how much time they thought about it, how many renditions of this there were. And like nature is the ultimate version of this took a long time to make. Like there's no
wow.
human on earth that'll ever create the beauty that nature has the time to do. So
I I
like you're definitely
Unreal.
feeling that.
I love that.
It's
And you're like you're like one of the nature gods. You and Blake are constantly out there. I love your adventures. And actually you don't share most of them with the Instagram world. You do it truly because you just love it. But you should share it, dude, because it inspires people to get out there and get connected a little bit.
Yeah, I know Blake and I need to do a trip soon because he's a
oh
really good
yeah.
dude. But in terms of the sharing stuff, like I have been sharing less because I don't think that the people around, like, I mean, just the country in general need to see all that stuff. And like maybe in my own personal mind, I'm not in the best place to be like super happy, like everyone look at this. So I also don't want to put that in people's faces when I'm doing it. I don't know. It's a really weird place where I am right now, and sort of
Yeah.
the
I hear
social
you.
media stuff. I like to try to be in the moment, and it's really hard to do both.
It
So I'm
is.
trying to balance it, but like I
Yeah.
do want to share it. And usually when I share stuff, it's like kind of personal. I don't really care if there's random people looking at it. Like I share stuff on Instagram because I want to show my parents,
Yeah.
or I want to show like
I
my
like
best
that.
friends. Like
Yeah.
if you're
I love
along
it.
for the ride, that's cool with me. But like usually it's like my messages are like, "Hey, mom and dad, look at this." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
totally.
That's
And
really cool. I like
dude,
that.
I totally understand what you're saying, and I think a lot of people can get on board with you on that, because this year's been kind of wild,
absolutely.
and kind of explain what it's been like for your 2020.
Real
Oh
quick. I'm so sorry, Ty.
yeah,
I
no
gotta.
worries.
The whole thing that I wanted to say
That's
in
right.
that story
Right.
was on
Yeah.
the way back, driving home. I've maybe seen stars like this,
Oh yeah.
dude. Maybe not ever. This was unreal. So we were driving back, and like you said, about an hour and a half north of Las Vegas, but pretty much in any direction, there's dope shit, as long as you leave the city of Vegas. And so we're driving back, and my little brother, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to take you to this awesome little lookout spot in the mountains." He pulls off. We go up this dirt road to I actually got a picture on and look, sorry for taking a picture, everybody. I appreciate it for a long time, but I do think, here's what I do.
Don't be
I'll,
sorry for taking a
I,
picture, because you
I,
can
I'll
keep that
take a
memory. It's
picture.
a diary.
Exactly. I'll take the picture. And what I used to do is I would take the picture and feel like I had to upload it right away, which was so toxic. That was terrible. Now
Right, right.
I take all the photos and put my phone away, and then I enjoy the moment.
That's awesome,
And
because like I think that's perfect. That's a great
yeah,
balance of that, because
totally.
like really that's a memory that
Yes.
it's never going to look the same on a
Yes.
picture, even with all the edits or whatever that people want to do. But when you scroll back in your photo album and you look at all those good times, it'll make you smile,
Oh, for
and
sure.
Exactly.
That
so
Absolutely, man.
picture was
yeah, yeah.
insane, bro.
So
I know which one you're talking about. It was just like in that snap that you took, there was like a million stars in that one
yes,
little
dude,
photo.
there was no edit in that. It was pitch black,
That's
and
so
I
cool.
was
I'm gonna
able
bring
to
that up right now.
the
Yeah.
camera was able to so I posted it to my story, Nick. I think it's probably gone by now. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you though.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have it.
please do, please do.
Like, it's unreal. So, dude, we were looking up. I've never seen. I put this on everything. I put this on my father. The second I opened the door, I looked up and I saw two shooting stars back to back. Big shooting stars. I was like, whoa. And then Paul, my little brother, was like, yeah, dude, you're gonna see a bunch. They don't stop. And then all of a sudden, this other one that literally went from like one end of the sky to the other, just all the way through. It was so gorgeous. We could see the Milky Way. You could see like the gap. It was unreal. I was just amazed looking up. We spent probably an hour there just
Talk,
stargazing, just
talk
looking
about
up.
feeling small, huh?
That like really leads into, but I mean, pre-show we were talking about. I was telling Tyler I'm starting to get into all these crazy conspiracy theories just because
Yeah.
it's fun. But like one of the ones is like all this neck problem, scoliosis stuff. Like you
Yeah.
looking down at your
Looking
phone all the
down.
time, and we're meant to be kind of looking up,
Yeah.
you know. So like it's a disconnect between reality
Yes.
that like I almost think there's like a purposeful or unpurposed engineering of us getting cut off
Mhm.
from that
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, they don't. Yeah, don't be looking up at all that amazing stars. Look at your phone. Come on.
Yeah,
What do you-
Don't touch the ground with your feet.
Yeah. No, please.
Always cover it
Put
with
your rubber on.
intrusive rubber. Yeah, put your rubber on. Be disconnected. You know, it's
Yeah,
such
Yeah,
an
absolutely.
interesting thing, the way that
Sure.
we're taking all of our thoughts and the way that we are and shrinking it. You know, like don't get near people. Don't make eye contact. Don't smile. Don't talk.
That's right. Yeah,
Just
that's right.
be this little worker bee. It's a madness.
What's
Hey,
it called?
buddy.
Earthing or grounding when you walk barefoot?
Grounding.
Yeah.
Grounding.
I again, I'm not super into this. It's just
I like
like
earthing
lip
too.
service.
I like earthing. I think
Same,
it is called.
I like
I'm gonna
it.
look. I'm gonna look when you
Yeah, either
walk
one. If you can ground
barefoot.
or earth, do a lot of that. It's good for you.
Ground or earth, yeah.
Earthing.
Yeah.
It is called earthing.
Earthing.
Earthing, dude. Yeah, you're walking with your toes all around. You're feeling the earth. Like there's something
Mhm.
to that. There is something
Oh,
to
yeah.
that. Absolutely.
Absolutely, there
And
is.
I feel like the closer you get to these cities, just the more disconnected you become of all of that. And it's funny, I actually, I had a conversation with Oliver the other night. We talked for a good amount of time over the phone,
That's awesome.
and
Where is he calling you
he's
from?
he's in Bali. He's in Bali.
Bali. That's a
Yeah.
sweet call.
But it's,
Yeah.
when he first kind of, I don't even want to call it running away, but he leaves America, goes and does his own journey down in Peru, went to the Amazon for a while, and then now he's living in Bali. Even myself, a lot of people, and myself included, was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, that's so far fetched. Like, I get going on vacation, but now you just want to live there. I don't get that. I would never want to leave San Diego. I love San Diego. I was telling him, I was like, dude, I get it. Like, I almost want to buy a little piece of land in Montana or something, like the middle of the country, where it's just gorgeous scenery out, not heavily populated, not super polluted. You can stargaze and see the Milky Way at night. If I could see that every night, I would never need to drink wine again. Well, I got to drink some wine, have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But
I mean, you
like,
could grow
that
some
is
wine too.
yeah,
There you go.
it's a crazy drug to be able
Yeah.
to be in nature like that. Makes me feel high.
It's
Yeah,
intoxicating for
it's
sure.
interesting because, like, I mean, Oliver's widely renowned as like one of the best players ever, and
Yeah.
He's
I
the GOAT.
think like getting so good at something, all you're really doing is slowly cutting out fat, like
Yeah.
getting rid of BS, and like so then your BS detector just starts getting more and more attuned to like, I don't need this, I don't need this, this is more efficient, this is more efficient, like that might have led him down that path of like, I don't need all this stuff, this is not the stuff I need for the path that I want to be on. And he definitely is on a very interesting path,
Wow.
so it's led him to that
That's the
result.
name of the game right there. I think you hit it on the head, is efficiency. We do have a long time here. It's unfathomable kind of. I'm 30 years old and I still got, hopefully, God willing, another 40 if I'm lucky, or more, who knows.
I think
But
triple it
You
at
yeah,
least.
got more than 40, dude, especially with the way
yeah.
medicine's going. We're Gucci.
Well,
And you take
yeah,
care of yourself
hopefully.
very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But dude, that's an interesting way to look at it, Nick. That's actually, I think you just brought up a really good point for the listeners about successful people. That is a habit that you learn very early if you want to achieve success, and that is trimming the fat. Every
Yeah.
area in your life, like I know all three of us can probably relate to that. It's like, and this isn't quite going to help me get to where I'm trying to go, so I'm going to trim that, cut it off.
Mhm.
Where people hold on to that stuff and they continue to do it, and they don't trim that fat because they either don't recognize that it's fat or they are comfortable with that kind of fat,
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
they
And
don't even
Or
they
the
don't know
fat
where they're
is an
going.
excuse that you can allow yourself to fail. Like,
yeah,
this fat's the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
that's weighing me down. Have you
yeah,
ever gone on a hike with someone that
Yeah.
isn't ready for that, and then it's all
Yeah.
about like, oh, like I'm carrying more weight than you, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, that's
that's an
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
you found it. You
Yeah.
found what exactly the problem was.
Yeah.
Yeah, huh?
And sometimes people don't even know where they're headed, so they don't have a direction or an
That's
area of trim to like anything to trim, because they don't know where they're going. And it's
that's a
about finding
really
that,
good point, Tyler.
yeah, the destination. We have to be clear of where we're headed. Otherwise, it's easy to get washed away this way or that way, and it becomes a slippery slope a lot of the times if you don't have a direction and a point that you're going to.
Absolutely. And that for me, what you just said definitely hit home, because I think the way that paintball has sort of taken this break, it's given me a long time to think about other
Yeah.
things and
Yeah.
not have that singular focus, and finding a new direction of what I want to do next. I think I'm biding my time to be like, that's it. And I'm definitely going to go hard into it, but I
Yeah.
haven't found it yet. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, they go pretty much their whole lives without finding that. And that bums me out. Like,
Yeah.
I wish that I could just help people find a direction. Cause when you're
Yeah.
in that mode of, this is the direction I'm going in, all the hard things become easy.
Totally. And it's
And
like, what's fun? What gives me the most joy? What am I having the most fun doing? Like, you got to
absolutely.
ask yourself that. Once you can figure that question out, then boom. If it doesn't make you the most money in the beginning, that's okay. You're having so much fun, and you
Mhm.
need to dive into that, because it's going to flourish. It's going to grow. You're going to create something that you could never even fathom out of that if you just follow your heart, follow what you love. And then, it's kind of it's fun too, not knowing, the curiosity of it all, the chase and the grind to figure it out is like, it's a crazy game.
Yeah, and I think that, like, recently, or sort of going back into that conspiracy stuff. All right,
Yeah.
let me start
Let's
here.
go.
If you haven't started watching that Zac Efron documentary
Oh
on
yeah.
Netflix.
Dude, I've
It
only
is
seen the first
so good.
episode. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I like the
if
show.
you like the first episode,
Yes.
you'll love
Yeah.
the way it continues.
Yeah.
But like, I think instead of direction right now, a lot of my thoughts have gone into what I'm insecure about and how
Mhm.
to deal with that. And
Mhm.
currently, the idea of being like a person living on the earth and then not knowing how to take care of myself if all of
Yeah.
this went away
Mhm.
is super uncomfortable. And like,
Yeah.
so thinking about like farming and taking
Yes.
care of the water you drink and like taking care of animals that also support you is like very interesting to me right now. So
Dude,
Well, 'cause
I'm
our
on that kick right
society.
now too.
Yeah, man.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
I think I think anybody with half a brain should be on that kick because we're realizing right now how fragile society is. All of
Yeah.
the
yes,
structures we have in place that keep life moving forward is incredibly fragile. At the drop of a hat, it could all change. It really can, and we are being shown that right now. So it's in
Yeah.
everybody's best interest of just simply self preservation. Yeah, I'm thinking all these things as well. Like
For
I want to
sure.
know how to hunt my own food. I want to know how to make sure that I can get water. I want to know how to build stuff. Like there is so
right,
much that I am behind on because I've been so coddled by modern society. As much of us
absolutely.
have. And yeah, dude. So that's kind of what it gets into as it goes on, or what?
Definitely.
Dude, I can't
A
wait.
lot of the things that you need to think of on a base human need level. And
Yeah.
we shouldn't really be focusing on so much more than that if we haven't figured out the other stuff. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I really recommend
totally,
that one,
dude.
getting into that. I think it's good for everyone. And, like, I first saw Zac Efron on there and
Yeah.
was like, nah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it sat in my recommended for like a month.
Yeah.
And then I drove out to DC to my mom just turned 60. I don't know if she would like me
Oh,
saying
wow.
that, but
Congratulations. That's
my
awesome.
sister
That's a
came up
good
with a
thing.
great idea of driving out there and surprising her, which we
Yeah.
did, and my parents were super thankful about that, which was cool. And
Yeah.
but she was like, "Yeah, I think you'd really like this documentary," and I'm like, now it's like my favorite thing I've watched in all of quarantine, which is everything else, which is
That's awesome.
90% of the library.
Yeah. Dude, that's so funny. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually, dude, I just bought like this rad shovel that has like a fire starter and it's like a knife and a saw and has a compass and like a screwdriver, all these crazy things. And I got a solar powered flashlight that I just got that like,
Very cool.
it runs off the sun. And I got this straw that I can drink out of any water and like
Oh, with the UV rays, with the
yeah,
UV
hang
because
the
of the
water up and it'll
uh,
purify it and stuff. So I've been
That is
definitely,
really cool. That's
yeah,
top-notch prepper stuff.
dude,
But,
I'm in there.
like, all of that stuff is super important individually, but, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I just wish that we could be
Yeah.
more giving about all of that stuff
Mhm.
to everybody. Because, like, I
yes.
mean, again, in this documentary, just the way that France or Paris specifically takes care of water in the ways
Yeah.
we don't, it had me Googling, because I drink tap water from
Yeah.
pretty much everywhere I am, and
Oh
reading
no.
about all the stuff that's in there, I'm like,
Oh, it's so bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tap water in
I
the States
could,
is terrible. Like
yeah.
prescription pill residue is in there. I mean, there's all sorts of toxic stuff in our
Like,
tap
it's
water in a lot of
not
places.
even necessarily the additives toxic, it's what we take away, which is the
Yeah.
biggest bummer, and,
Mhm.
like, they really get into that, and I think that, I mean, that's totally changed my perspective on
Oh yeah.
how we should be taking care of ourselves at a very 65% of our body base level.
Yeah,
I
right?
gotta I got to give a major shout out to Ryan Greenspan. He's
I
been
knew this
talking
was
about it
good,
for a
yeah.
long time, right? Like he
Yeah.
has a whole blog about it on his website, ryangreenspan.com. You guys could check it out. But
Yeah.
him, Oliver, really the Dynasty guys they've always been pretty in tune. That's why I love playing for the
Yeah.
team. Tyler, I think you
Of
can
course.
agree. Like they're just so
Absolutely.
so in tune with stuff, and they're great people to learn from. But they've
Yeah.
taught me so much about water that I didn't know before. I
Yeah.
was drinking purified water, thinking it's fine, Dasani, stuff like that, where I'm like, oh, this is great. Not realizing these companies, they rip all the minerals out of the water, the stuff that's good for you, the stuff you need in the water,
Well, and, like, to describe for people listening that don't really know what we're talking about, at a very base level, like, when we're in kindergarten, we talk about, like, water being magnetic almost. Like, if you think about sticking a piece of paper in water, that water will climb up the
Yeah.
paper, and because it's absorbing things, and so, like, all of that stuff that is in natural water that it's taking in, that it's sucking in from the earth and from the ground, the water is pulling that to it and then fills itself up with nutrients, magnesium, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when we put water in our body that doesn't have that stuff in it, it's going to absorb that stuff from places like our bones and our muscles and our organs, because that water is sucking in that magnesium and stuff. So all that purified water is draining you almost of your own. Yeah,
that's
it makes
crazy.
sense. When I drink purified water, even if no matter how much I drink, I do not get hydrated the way that I do if I drink the right water. And that to me is the most mind-blowing thing, because, and people don't understand it. And when I tell people, when we go to clinics and, I'm like, hey, can you please get spring water for everybody?
They're like, yeah, shut up.
Yeah. And I'm like, look, I know I hate even saying this. It sounds like I'm high maintenance, but it's real. It's like when you go to the store and you see granola bars and it's like the healthy granola bar is the name of the bar, but it has 18 grams of sugar in one little bar, no fat, no this, no that, and it's advertised as a healthy thing. It's not healthy. Water is the same thing. Like, you have to be, and Oliver talked about this on the podcast we did, Ty, if you remember, but you have to be so diligent with how you look into what you're putting inside your body, because these companies are massive and their bottom line is making money. That's what they're trying to do, is to make money and advertise and get the consumer to become addicted to their product. You can do that through ingredients, you do that through marketing, you do it through all sorts of different stuff. So you have to really do your due diligence in finding the right stuff.
Absolutely. There's more now than ever. We need to be tapping into nature and being simple and grateful human beings, man. Like, there's just way too much going on. We've got less is more right now. We need to be kind to each other. We need to, really tap into what's real, which is nature. Nature is the ultimate reality. And if you can, I know times are crazy.
There's your next t-shirt right there.
Yeah, for
Please.
real. Yeah, nature is reality. Yeah.
Dang.
And it's all about us just, coming back to the center and realizing that it's a delicate fabric we're a part of. And we've got to be really grateful and careful with how we choose to navigate this time that we have on this earth together as humans, because, like I said, it's very delicate and it's a slippery slope that we have to be careful. And, I actually devoted a whole brain cell of the last few that I have to Oliver. Like, one of them is just for him, just listening to all the things that he says. Because it's really profound, his mission and his journey is that
nature. A reoccurring theme in your self-deprecation? Is that you only have
I just started it. I just started that with you.
Yeah,
really
I haven't heard that.
I like it.
Tyler's one of the brightest dudes I know, so I don't know.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But most of the brightest people I know are very self-deprecating, because, once you get to a certain point of understanding how you'll never know everything,
that's it.
Right there. Then it just doesn't make fun of yourself, because
the more that I think, the less I know. Truly. Yeah, the more that I think about stuff and learn things, I'm like, dude, what? And then there's always something that you think is fact, because maybe it is fact at that time. And then 5 years later, it's not fact. There's other pieces of evidence that come into play and kind of shift your thinking. One of the things that I try to advocate the most is being flexible in your thinking, and so many people are so rigid because they learn something and they want to be right. It's part of the human process to just feel like I want to be right, but be flexible.
Feels good. It feels good to be right.
I feel, and I used to be, I think I'm a good advocate of it, because I grew up so stubborn. So, and I still am sometimes. I can't act like I'm not, but when I do my due diligence and I learn about something, I then take a pretty hard stance on it, because I feel like I've put in the work to have that right to do so. And one of the things I've tried to do so much more in the last couple years is just be entirely flexible and try to have real conversations to get to a different understanding, rather than being stiff in my beliefs, because no matter how much research I may have done, or no matter how much I know something to be true, there's other realities that could bring something to light that if I'm not in the right mental space, like if I'm just trying to be right, I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to have the opportunity to let somebody maybe smarter than me or more knowledgeable in a certain topic that we're speaking on teach me something, and it's such an important thing. Yeah.
And there's a big difference between, someone having that rigid stance and saying like, this is what I heard, therefore it is, and someone saying, this is what I've learned, convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that openness to be convinced otherwise is the key. But like if you've done the research and someone hasn't given you another stronger, valid argument for the other way,
Mhm.
then like stick with yours, but you still always have to be open to hearing that. And I think that's a huge, huge problem in the way that a lot of us communicate now is rigid ideas or believing we've done enough of the research to whether, like a lot of social causes right now and all of that stuff. Like our country has become so politicized in everything that
Oh yeah.
that we do. Like what's that medicine that was Trump said for
Hydroxychloroquine, I think.
right,
I might
right.
be butchering that. Something like that.
And
Hydroxy.
like I listened to a bunch of podcasts and stuff and people were saying in some of them that like they went to their doctor and their doctor says, "Okay, well, what's your political stance? Because if you're one way, I'll give you this. If you're the other way, I won't."
Wow.
And like the fact
Oh
that something that could help someone be sick is either like you're a Democrat or Republican
yeah.
is so wild to me.
It
It's like,
is.
Yeah.
well, does it or doesn't it? I don't care
I don't
either way.
care who supports it. Is it gonna help me? Am
Yeah.
I gonna stay alive if I take this? Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. That's the only thing that should matter, and
Dude.
the fact that we're leaving, like, logic aside for, being on team red or blue is so sad to me, so,
Dude, yeah.
I will never in my whole life join one side or the other because, like, the same reason why every other year I switch off between buying an Xbox and a PS4. Who did it better this year? Who did it better? I
Yeah.
just want the best one. I
Yeah.
don't care what team it is. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna just support the
Right.
one that I
Yeah.
had since I was a kid because, like, if you do that, then that quality will decline forever because
Yes,
you've
exactly.
already become addicted to that brand or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and, like, make those things, those sides, work hard for your dollar and your vote, like,
There we
every
go.
time. So, like, vote with your dollar by who's doing the best thing. That's
Yeah.
all that matters. That's it.
Dude, yeah, the block is hot in the next few months here. We're going to see what's going to happen in the great country of the United States of America here. And
The block is hot.
Block is not.
yeah,
Dude,
we'll see.
we're gonna dive back into all this for sure, but you know how the
Yeah.
show goes. Everybody knows the rules. We got to
Yeah.
start with your first day at paintball, dude. Like, how did you get exposed
Oh,
to the public
shoot.
game? Which
Yeah.
this game is
Oh,
what
man.
led us to this friendship, the way we could have these amazing conversations. Like, I'm so thankful to have met you. And if I remember right,
Me too, dude.
met you.
Yeah.
I think I
For
first
real.
met you in
Oh my goodness.
2012 at one of the PSP events. I was talking with you, and I'm pretty sure it was Dan Zaleski. I don't know if you remember. I think it was like MAO or something.
Yep,
It was you guys' first year in the pro league, and you guys were just some super down to earth, young, hungry players pursuing a dream,
right.
and like now you're one of the best in the world.
Well, I appreciate that, and I one of the things I agree with you, like, being established during that time, like, I really love seeing when people are coming into the sport young and hungry because
Oh
it
yeah.
Yeah.
scares me, and it makes me better,
That's
I
right.
feed
Yeah.
off of you, so please, more of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, first day at paintball, I'm that classic story of birthday party.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Shout out to the birthday party crew.
Yeah.
Exactly, and, like, it was, like, a bunch of my good friends were, like, 10 years old. It was super scary, but I just wanted to shoot people. Like, I
Yeah.
loved it. I was, like, every holiday, everything after that was all about, like, getting a
Totally.
new barrel, getting a new whatever, and I was lucky enough to have a bunch of my close friends be involved in that same pursuit. So, like, Max Trailer was someone that I started out with,
Wow.
for anyone who doesn't know, Revo,
Yeah.
he was someone I played with for a long time. I live with one of my, best friends that I went to that birthday party to,
Oh
and a
wow.
lot of the people that I talk to from home are still those same people. Actually, one of them came to, the clinic that we did in
Oh
Boston.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really cool to see, like,
Yeah.
it's
They're like, bro, you made it.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't
Hell
one
yeah.
of those, it's one of those things where paintball's awesome, but what really keeps you coming back is the memories you make with friends. And I was lucky enough to have friends that wanted to keep making those memories. So, like, if there was anything that helped me in my journey, it was that. Like, I didn't have to go it alone. I had friends that entered that with me. And for anyone who's starting and doesn't have a group of friends that goes and plays paintball, if you make them at the paintball field, there's other people like you
That's
that
right.
are playing without those pre-established friends. And if you make those friends, like, they will bring you far, very far. What is the saying? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
That's right.
Yeah,
Dude, I
absolutely.
love
So
that. Yeah, like you said, there's tons of opportunity in paintball when you make those connections. And you can't even, like, I'm sure you never, thought, hey, I'm going to be on Edmonton Impact, one of the best teams in the world. It's like you just don't know where it could take you.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one of the things that I always want to give to people is, like, don't focus on the end goal.
Yeah.
Just get whatever you're doing, whatever your pursuit is, just worry about getting good at it, and then you will be recognized. Like, that's all it takes, is get good at it. Sorry, Marcelo. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So, dude, I messed up.
I know.
I listen. Hold on. I'm gonna just say this because, again, I'm supposed to tell you this before the show. This is just for me and Tyler, so that when
Yeah.
when our guest is when our guest is done talking, we don't interrupt each other. And
Oh,
on
that's
the last
awesome.
one
That's a
too,
good
Mike
job.
was like, "Oh, like you need to talk." I'm like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot to brief you on it."
So
Yeah,
for the
hey,
listeners,
no problem.
whenever we put two fingers up, it's for me and Marcelo to kind of cue in, but then we always forget to tell our guest.
Yeah, and so the guest is like, "Wait,
Awesome.
should I stop talking?" I'm like, "Damn it, I messed it up."
Yeah, 'cause then let your listeners along on your journey of learning this. So,
Exactly.
like,
There we go.
that's cool.
Exactly.
Like, never edit out those kind of
No,
things.
we don't.
No, never, and yeah, and
All
now
raw.
I forgot what I was even gonna interject and say.
Oh,
Oh my
no.
god. Nick, where were you? What were you
We're
elaborating
talking about, friends going far.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was, don't worry about the end goal,
Oh,
and,
that's right, that's right, yeah, so, like,
Look at a couple brain cells
yeah,
left. Let's go, baby.
yeah, I know, I have less than Tyler, so we're really struggling over here. Um, so I totally agree on that, but at the same time, I do think focus on the end goal is also important because you need to have that vision. That needs to be your anchor, right? The end goal needs to be your anchor, but you need to stay focused on all the steps leading up to that. That's where the intense focus needs to be. And that's something that so many people get wrong is they just say, "I want to be a professional paintball player."
For
Okay.
the glory. Yeah.
So they're like, "I'm playing every weekend. Why am I not pro? Why am I not D2? Why am I not D3
yeah.
yet?" They're playing every weekend, but no, you're not understanding. And this is why, like, I love golf. I've taken everything I'm learned from paintball, how to break down each little movement. I go and I play the course, and there's like a few bad shots that I have. Maybe it's out of the rough where the grass is not. It's not a very good lie, and so I struggle getting the ball to there, and it turns 2 strokes into 5 strokes because I'm so terrible. So then I'm like, okay, I need to practice that exact thing. If I have a shot that puts me into a situation that I really don't like, that's when I need to go practice. Paintball is the same way every sport is. Everything is actually. With paintball, like we always tell people, if you're going to drill, if you go out to the field and you keep losing gunfights when you're in the snake, then you don't need to snap shoot standing up. You need to go and set up targets while you're in the snake and practice that over and over. But
Well, I mean, that totally goes back to what we are talking about, trimming the fat. You now have that mentality of, like, instead of, like, I think the idea of if you show up, like, it's a good thing, like, that's not even
yeah,
any of the battle.
I
The
agree.
battle is getting better each time, and showing up is how you start that.
Yeah.
So, like, you can show up to the field all you want, but until you get that mentality of, like, what Marcelo, what you're talking about, of, like, the lie and, like, where you messed up and how you can fix it, that is where your journey begins. So, like,
Yeah.
for those people that are showing up all the time, like that, like, good for you for getting there, but take one thing and get better at it. And it can be something super small, like where you place your feet off the box, like
Yeah.
super, super small. But what you're really trying to build is that mentality that, I mean, Marcelo and Tyler have luckily got from being very young, playing a sport under a very tough coach. You become very aware of the fat and how to get rid of it, because you don't want to get yelled at.
Yeah. Or beat. You don't want to get beat
Yeah,
up.
or beat. Yeah, I definitely don't want to get beat up.
But dude, I think you're hitting on something so huge. This is a huge nugget right here. And it's a mantra for life, man. A lot of people are just showing up. They're just showing up. They're showing up to their job. They're showing up to whatever it is. And they don't know why life isn't going the way that they have it in their mind. Well,
Why
it's
didn't I get a
because,
raise?
yeah, you got to
Why didn't I
create.
get a promotion?
Absolutely, dude. And it's I'm going to tie it back into like the law of attraction and tuning your mindset into a creative mindset where you're creating your reality and you're doing whatever it takes, mentally, physically, whatever you have to do to give yourself that edge. And it's thought based. You have to see where you're going before I can ever get there. I have to have a tangible point of reality and view it and be grateful for it, and like something that you're actually viewing. And you can't just show up. You have to be creating a reality. Otherwise, these kids who think, like Marcelo was saying, why am I not getting picked up on a team? Why am I not going up? Well, maybe you're just not creating it in the right way. And it's about those connections, communicating with people around you and making good connections. And through those good connections, you can start to change your reality, and amazing things happen through those connections. It's
Can I
just
get a good like micro example of what you're talking
absolutely.
about? Like I know where you're
Sure.
going with that, but just like
Yeah.
specifically in paintball.
Totally. Yeah. So you have the kid who he shows up and he works hard, and he's a great paintball player. There's kids like that all over the country that are,
Absolutely, there
probably
are.
listening to this right now, and they're great paintball players. They have all the fundamentals, and they're just not branching out and connecting in the ways that are necessary to create new realities. And it's maybe they don't even understand how to, but it's making those really good connections so that they can, give themselves the opportunities to climb the ladder and give themselves, you see how I'm saying give themselves, they have to create that reality for themselves and give themselves an opportunity by making those connections.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to elaborate on that because I actually just recently got a message from a player that said he wants to come try out for Dynasty, and he plays Division 3 right now. Which, hey, maybe there's some Division 3 All Stars. Don't know, but he said, "I'm ready. I play every weekend.
I love that.
do really well on my team. All of his stuff, right?" And he sent me like 10 videos of him playing. First and foremost, just so everybody listening, when you send me that message, I say every time, because it's the way Dynasty is run, you have to talk to Rusty. He's our coach. He's the one who deals with this, right? And so I guess he did message Rusty. Rusty will like kind of didn't get back to him, or said, I think he said, "Can you beat everyone on our team in a one-on-one?" But anyway, he was asking me like for a tryout. So
because that shows how you perform.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he sends me.
That's to me, I know Rusty, and that's him doing the math real quick.
Yeah.
And then being like the odds, I mean, one-on-ones are almost a 50-50 in general, but the odds of him beating 10 pro players, pretty small. So
yeah. Okay, so here's the thing, right? So I watched the video, and the player that I'm talking about did some pretty big fundamental mistakes in the game. One was he got to the 50 snake. The other team was stuck in the back center, and he looks inside, lets the back center fill out to the snake corner. And then he does shoot the corner, right? He wins the gunfight heads up and then goes down and shoots like 2 or 3 more players. And he's like, thinks he did great. And I said, "Hey, listen, rule number 1, if you are deep on the tape and the other team is not on the tape, you wrap and you contain. You don't let them fill out unless you have like 2 or 3 free easy kills, maybe. But the best chance you have of winning a paintball game is owning the tape, owning that real estate. I would honestly rather have a field advantage than a body advantage, right? Like if we're 4-on-5, but we're in the 50 snake and the other team's stuck in like the secondary bunker on the snake side, I feel pretty good about that as long as we don't let them fill out." So I sent that to him, and his immediate response was, "But I shot that guy, Marcelo, and then we won the game." And I was like, okay, well, you're not even close to being on this team because of that response. You're not understanding that a better player would have got out to that corner and punked you, or maybe turn the field on your whole team, or maybe, you just don't know all the stuff that could happen because you give up that advantage. So one, it's, you're not even being receptive to growth. Like I'm trying to help you,
Right.
and that's issue.
That example is a really, really good example, I think, of how let's say the difference between an average deep 2 player and a pro player thinks. And if you've ever listened to me before, you've probably heard me say this, but I mean, paintball is a sport, but it is a skill game at the same time. And what separates a sport from a game is every single sport is a game. But the only thing that separates it is that an athletic advantage will give you a large advantage within that game. So that's why paintball is a sport. But that being said, like there's a lot of luck involved in skill games, and paintball has a lot of luck involved, but most pro players or anyone that really knows what they're looking at or what they're seeing when it comes to a game is playing those really, really small margins of where your skill is counteracting all of that luck. Like, yes, there's a lot of luck in the game, but if you do the right things because of your skill or understanding of the way that a game is unfolding, then you're giving yourself even a 5-10% advantage. But that 10% advantage over 1,000 points is huge. That's the difference between all of those games. If you have all 5 players playing with those skill games, and there's a lot of people that play paintball that, yes, it is a sport and they want to have all those cool shots, but in Marcelo's example, you made a large mistake by letting someone fill out, and you got lucky by shooting them out and turning the field. And we don't want that mistake to happen in the first place. And also the fact that you're seeing that luck as skill is 2 negatives in that story to why you're not seeing the same game as a pro player seeing. And I think that, like, that leap to realize where the skill is involved in paintball over the athleticism or over the shot, the fundamentals, where you're playing your body position as a chess piece is the huge separator between someone that is going to be successful within the game versus, being really good at your local field where people aren't playing under the lights with a crowd, with a coach, with a team, all of those things. How do you perform in those moments? And if you're actually doing those skillful moves or decisions in those moments. So I guess that's my take on that.
I love that. Yeah. And huge shout out to the kid for reaching out and being hungry about it. But now the next step is let's take this information that we're talking about. I hope he listens to this, and let's build, and let's be, constructive and build up and keep building forward. And then who knows, maybe hopefully someday we will see him, out there, but we gotta stay sharp.
No. So I guess my biggest point, like in response to Nick's question, is I see that a lot with players coming up is they want to talk about what they're doing well rather than what they should be doing better. And that is the difference to me. When you have players that are constantly talking about, okay, I have some kids on some of the teams that I coach where we'll lose a tournament because maybe we don't make the finals by 1 point. And in one of the points, it was a 1-on-3. And the kid's like, man, just beating himself up because he could have made this move into a spot to get a kill. And, I'm like, dude, I love that you're thinking of it that way. You're not thinking of all the amazing points that you had. You're thinking of, which is exactly how I've always thought. And I know every single one of us here thinks that way. It's not, well, I had a really good game, and if my guys would have just stayed alive that last point, I probably would have been able to shoot 2 or 3. It's like, damn, I was in a 1-on-3, and if I would have just cut the seam this way, got that first shot instead of missing that first shot on the pack, like that might have worked.
Absolutely. Dude, that's a perfect example. Like in terms of you looking at a player, you're way more likely to take a player like that than a player like your first example, because paintball has kind of messed me up in the long term because, like, we always talk about, have a short memory, right? And like, if you're in a point you're losing, forget about it. Go in and play your best in this next one because there's always time you can come back, right? Yeah. But in that same example, I took that to heart because I have the worst memory when it comes to good points, winning, all of that stuff. The only things that my brain remembers in my terrible memory is all of those mess ups. And I dwell on them. And like, it carries over sometimes in regular life where, like, I could have done a whole bunch in the day. And then, if I forgot something, then all I can think about is that. And I don't want to pass that on to people in their real life, but like in their paintball life, it is a huge, huge thing to dwell on your mistakes and try to think about how you could have done that better. Because those good points, I'm sorry, every coach, Rusty included, is going to say, yeah, you're supposed to do that.
That's right.
That was what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But you messed up over here. So like that's just how it's going to go.
So what you're saying is there needs to be a good balance, even with something like that, being hypercritical of yourself, looking at the bad, but not letting it carry over into unhealthy areas of your life. Again, life always comes back to balance. We could, Nick, we're so excited to have you on, dude.
For real.
So the listeners know, Nick, Tyler, and myself got to room together in Boston when we were doing the clinic, and it was just awesome. We had like such good conversation. We're like, dude, this could be a podcast. So we do want to
we might have done 3 podcasts that night.
So. Totally.
Yeah. We went into some wormholes there that night that were pretty cool. Interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this reality of being a human on Earth, and it's pretty amazing. And we're so fortunate to be able to connect on those types of things,
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive back in a little bit. So your first time playing was at a birthday party. We want to talk about how you got into the competitive side of it and how you started, playing tournaments, how the evolution of, you started with your friends. I think 187 was you were with them pretty much all the way through. I could be wrong.
I want to hear about the birthday party. Let's hear what happened at the birthday party first.
Dude, you know what? Honestly, I probably played pretty well because I barely remember it. So like that's all I got on that. Like I remember being out of the field and like in the staging area, and I'm probably having more fun, telling stories about what happened out there and all that stuff. Yeah. But like the actual play, can't really remember it.
Yeah,
I
you did good.
10, 11 years old. Yeah, it must have been a good day. But in terms of the team stuff, like a lot of my friends that were playing, we started playing really local tournaments at the field. We started with 3-on-3s. It was just some of my friends that were like, hey, I think, like this is fun, but what is this speedball thing that looks super exciting? And yeah, of course it got really addicted.
That was how I started too, with 3-man. It's the best.
Yeah, it is the best. There's so much consequence to someone dying, like you're playing for, I mean, it may as well be a 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so it makes really exciting games to play. I don't know if I've watched too many 3-on-3s, but like in terms of strategy, it's like do or die on a lot of things. There's no comeback. So like in terms of watching 5-on-5, I think is my favorite format, but
for sure
3-on-3 is fun to play.
Dude, I would absolutely love to see a 3-man pro type tournament. I just think it'd be so entertaining. Yeah.
There'd be a lot of people getting shot in the back. That's for sure. You know what I mean? And like that's what we want to see. Because one person wins their heads up.
Yeah.
And then the other person runs down and shoots their teammates in the back.
I think they might have been onto something with the was it Ultimate Madness? No, not Ultimate Madness.
I was in that back in the day.
Not Ultimate Madness. What was the Skyball?
Yeah. Skyball. Yeah.
Canada. Yeah, the big thing. That's funny. Yeah.
Dude, we actually did a 3-man tournament when I was younger in like Las Vegas. It was like a televised one or something crazy like that. Do you remember that? Where it was like,
I think that was Skyball.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I could be off on them, but yeah, they had this crazy 3-man event in Vegas. That was pretty tight. Sorry, Nick.
I was just listening.
Yeah, my dream is to have a tournament series where we have 3-man, 5-man, 10-man woods ball, and 1-on-1, and you have to play all of them, and then that's the ultimate.
Yeah, it's like an Iron Man.
Yeah,
you have to do all of the. That would be really cool.
Let's find out who the best paintball players are. Not the best paintball players, not the best woods ball. Who are the best paintball players?
Yeah,
totally.
Because then you could have like a 10-man team, where everyone plays, and then you go down to the 5-man where you have 2 lines that switch off. And then you go down to the 3-man, and then everybody plays the 1-on-1s. You set a lineup like baseball.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
So each team doesn't just send their best 1-on-1 player. This is a team sport still. So
yes, you got some strategy.
Oh, dude, I like it. That makes it to where you can have all the different formats in one event, and it's very dude.
That would be really fun.
That's a great idea.
Because you're like, hey, this 10-man team, they won the 10-man, so they got 30 points.
Right.
Yeah. Whatever, but it's going to come down to this 1-on-1 match.
Yeah.
Like,
bro, we just cracked the code to literally take paintball to the next level. That is so tight.
For sure.
That would be sweet.
So tight. Fun, man. I think the older that I get, and it's not an age thing. It's honestly just more experience, I think, and like maybe maturing with the game. I love all formats more now than I ever have before. Like there was a period when I was, fresh into my professional career and kind of well into it where I was X-ball only.
Yeah.
5-man only. Like I was so set that is the way forward and the only way forward. Scenario games, what are you guys doing? You're making our sport look bad because it's like, that's not a sport. I was so wrong. I was so wrong with the importance of all of the different styles of play and how fun all of them are and how everybody should be able to enjoy the game, and they do with all the different formats that we have. So I was so wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong. And over the last couple years, I've just been all in on trying to play all these different types of formats. If we're shooting a paintball out of a gun, I want to try it. You know, like you go and play the scenario game, and it's like, okay, it's not really about shooting people. Our team has to capture this slapstick and hold it down for like 10 minutes. You know, like it's so sick. It's like it's so fun with the strategy.
Definitely, and, like, to give you an out there, like, you're definitely someone that sees a goal and you wanna go towards it, so you're trimming that other fat, like, we're trying to get paintball to a spot where, the majority of people at least know what it is and don't say, "Oh, I've heard of that before," like, you see the best, most fun format, the most successful format, and you go, "Alright, trim the fat, let's go this way with this," and, like, so I totally understand that. But like in terms of all right, so we brought up Ronnie D's on before, and I play, and same with I play in Mouse. All these people, we play Warzone together at
Oh,
nights,
really?
and Kyle Spica, yeah, and I am a really big proponent that makes you start thinking about the way that numbers work in the game of paintball. And if anyone plays those games, because I'm sure a majority of you do, just the numbers of
Of
how many
course.
people are playing those games right now. But the difference between playing solos, duos, trios, quads, the strategy is completely different in the same way that the one-on-ones versus 5-on-5s, 10-on-10s in paintball, the way that you use your body and the times you push and the times you don't. Like for example, in 3-man, if you kill a guy on one side, your team better push down that side. In
Yeah.
10-man, if you kill a guy off that one side, you're not pushing down that side.
Yeah.
There's too many people left.
Dude,
Like, it doesn't make any
we learned
sense.
we learned that pretty good a couple weekends ago.
Absolutely.
When we played
Absolutely,
that 10-man event, my goodness, it was impossible to
Yeah.
close the games.
and
Yeah.
that's why it's huge, like, what you brought up about, proving who the best paintball players are. If you can take that understanding of the way that the numbers games work in gunfights and apply them to all of those different styles, then, I mean, I think you get
Yeah.
the cup.
Dude, it
You
sounds exciting, man. I hope
monster spinning.
that someday we'll get to play that tournament series. Someday
Yeah.
it'll come to fruition. And dude, huge shout out to everyone holding paintball tournaments in general. We just need as much paintball as possible out there right now. So it's all love for paintball, and I can't wait. I'm actually going to the ICPL. I'm going to be playing with the All Americans here
Nice.
next month, in the beginning of the month next month. So that's going to be fun.
Very cool. I'm
Yeah,
also playing a tournament next month in Ohio.
nice.
It's like a pro invite tournament, and
There we go.
I'm playing with the Kings, the Golden State Kings, which is going to be
Yeah,
pretty cool.
dude,
And
we were supposed to be there playing
I know
alongside
I
you.
took your spot. I think I took your spot actually.
Yeah,
What
that's
happened?
okay. Well, I'm making money that weekend, so I'm
Oh,
so
good for you. Yeah, I'm spending money, so
yeah.
like, who really won that one?
I'm I'm bummed that we won't be there though.
I
I
know. I'm
honestly
so
like that
bummed.
would be so fun.
Yeah,
I want to because again, like you were talking about, Nick, right? Purpose. And so I was really excited when I heard about it. I was like, "Oh, great! We're gonna have a tournament to prepare for
Yes.
yeah,
a month or a couple weeks." Like, I want that. I need something that I can every day I wake up and I have a focus. Again,
yeah,
that's the anchor, right? That a tournament
It's
would
the
be the
anchor.
anchor, and then all my focus would be on all the steps leading up to having success. When I get to the anchor. And yeah, it's a bummer not have anything like that right now. That event's gonna be sick, dude. It's gonna be
for
really cool.
sure.
Shout out to Go Sports for making something like this happen. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah,
If you
thank
guys
you,
are
Go
not
Sports.
subscribed to Go Sports, you need to get subscribed. Support the people that are showcasing what we do. This event's gonna be really cool. Golden State.
Or
Sorry, Nick.
take it selfishly and watch good paintball and get better.
Right.
Totally.
Support yourself.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for real. Everybody tune in and support Nick. It's King time, baby. Let's go.
It's king
Wait,
time.
wait,
Is that the
playing
chant?
with the Golden State Kings?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what you
yeah.
said.
That's what he was
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah. We've got a fun lineup. It's gonna be
Yeah,
good.
Who's
I
so
know.
who's on the team? It's you, Archie, Kyle,
Blake,
Blake,
um,
John.
Mouse.
Mouse is playing too?
That's right.
Oh no.
Breaking news.
Oh, I'm
Um,
pissed. I'm so pissed.
Charlie.
Charlie and
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I
That's
mean,
right.
like, winning aside, like, I'm gonna have fun. So
Oh,
I'm pumped about
guaranteed.
that.
And exactly what Marcelo was saying about the anchor, dude. It's so crucial to have these tournaments to drive towards. And from what I hear, I know that at least the professional division, I'm pretty sure, is going to be having a tournament for World Cup. So it's nice to know.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully that happens. But I'm using that as my anchor, to drive
Absolutely.
towards. Even starting, not even today, but weeks ago, it's been something that's been driving me forward. And yeah, we're going to be at KW Paintball in Iowa that weekend. So huge shout out to KW Paintball. But man, I'm super bummed that I can't be with you boys out there playing that tournament.
Yeah,
That
no,
sounds
that would be
fun.
sweet.
I know.
Speaking of, like, I really like what you guys said about the anchor, because I mean, paintball, the way that it works through the year provides you not only an end goal of World Cup. That's why everyone always says, like, whoever wins World Cup, like, that's the biggest tournament, because like that's the end goal, right? And but it gives you these steps in between. And I mean, I'm really into, like, all right, so I just drove for 6 days straight. So
Whoa.
I had a lot of time to think. But like
Hold
I
on.
thought of a bunch.
Six
Yeah.
6 days? Where did you
Well,
go?
I drove out to DC and then drove
Whoa.
back. So
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
you were
it was
definitely in the think tank there.
I had plenty of time to think. I came up with like two really good app ideas. One I'm gonna keep to myself,
Yeah,
and the
of
other
course.
one is like, so the way that like games and stuff, why they're so addictive now, is because of the way that like developers and designers kind of hacked the way that what you guys were saying, that anchor
Yeah.
of, you have an end goal, but all of these steps in between are really rewarding. You unlocked something
Yeah.
exploded, and you got something that helps you in the future, whatever. If there's anybody out there, or a group of people smart enough and have the means to make a life game that's an app on your phone, that you can be like, okay, you plug in your budget, you plug in
Yeah.
basically where you're at now and what you'd like to do in the future, what you'd like to achieve.
Mhm.
And that app, it gives you your progress all the way through, and then helps you with a daily, monthly, yearly structure of
Wow.
how to do that stuff. And then
Dude, I love
when
it.
you get rewarded, it's something that's physical, or I mean, whatever you emotional, whether you wanted to have children or whatever your goal ended up being. But obviously that would be a huge endeavor to create. But if anyone has the ability to do that, I will download it 100%. Because
That
like
sounds amazing.
the way that we structure all these things on our phones and our computers, like they know how to get our attention, and
Mhm.
they know how to create a false sense of success.
Mhm.
And it would be really awesome if we could create a real sense of success
Yeah.
via these hacks that we found in our brain and our attention span and all that stuff. So like
Whoa.
you could also, if you want to monetize that, then advertisers would be pumped to basically like, all right, this person's 3-year goal has a car in it.
Yeah.
What car is in their price range? Well, hey, advertisers, this would be a
Wow.
great place to put
Yeah.
your advertisement. So monetization is easy. There's a lot of ways to do all that stuff, but if anyone has the know-how to do it, please
Damn,
get
that's
that done.
awesome.
I think it would help a lot of people.
Yeah, dude, you're a whiz kid. I was actually picking your brain about like cryptocurrencies and stuff like that
Oh,
when we were out in Boston. We had really good conversations about that too, and that's a really interesting idea, dude. I hope somebody with the
I,
know-how puts that together.
I,
yeah,
I
just
want to
throwing it
I
out
want to hear the other one. I want to hear the other one.
You want to hear
No,
the other
no,
one?
no,
Well,
no, no.
you know what? Probably because I don't have the know-how to do it, but
Yeah,
something that I think would really help and would be easy to monetize would be, um, like, let's just say we'll call it Meetup, and all it is you can create a party. And so, like, let's say, Tyler, you want to have people over for the football game. You don't necessarily know a lot of people in your area.
yeah.
You can host 3 people. People submit their profile, and you can say, like, oh, yeah, I'd like to have this guy at the game. I'd like to have this girl at the game.
Whoa.
And then for scalability, and that would be free for you. Like, you could
Yeah.
just do that for free. But scalability all the way up, Marcelo, you own a stadium, and you're having Dane Cook on for a comedy show, and you need to sell 50,000 tickets or whatever. Me as a user, I go on my app and go, I mean, I have Saturday free. What's going on? I can look at a map of my region, and I can say, okay, like I can either pay $10 to go to this concert, or I could for free
Yeah.
go to Tyler's house and watch the game with him. And like for the monetary thing, like you, Marcelo, as the big corporation, anything that gets pushed through the app, let's say the app takes 1% of that ticket, sale, but you've reached all the way into that user's home and thought process in terms of whatever. But the whole point of the idea would be to get people together and start connecting in person via,
Interesting.
instead of over the internet or just isolating, because it's so easy to isolate. Like I definitely have that problem. Yeah, you to make a new friend is really hard, but that one day that you take the risk
Yeah.
to go over to Tyler's house
Yeah.
and like, we're tracking you so you're not
Dude,
murdering people.
especially, yeah.
But like
In
all
like
that,
2020, dude,
yeah.
we hopefully, like, things get better, and we can start to connect like you're talking about, because we need that more than ever. But yeah, it's been crazy with all this this wild year, dude. Just the disconnect has been so wild.
Yeah, but
Yeah, and it's only
it-
growing.
you
Yeah.
touch on something so crucial, because I know, and for 15 years, I've known how much better I feel, how much more at peace I am, how much less anxiety I have, how much more confidence I have when I get out and I make those interactions. I build connections, I meet people, whether it's going out and adventuring like I did this last weekend. I don't do it enough. Getting out and doing stuff and meeting up with people and creating connections makes me feel better, but
Yeah.
I don't do it. I don't do it
Yeah.
enough. Like, I love being home in my bubble. All my friends, in my
Relatable.
my 2 friends in San Diego, they're like, "Dude, we never see you. We never do it." I'm like, "Yeah, I just when I get home, I just like being in my bubble. I like, I've got my routine." But every time that I go out and I meet a group that's doing stuff that I enjoy, or I'm exposed to some new stuff, I come home and I go, I have to do that more. I
Yeah,
have to do
every
that.
time.
And and
Yeah.
and I know that it makes me happier. I know it makes me a better person, and I don't do it enough. And so something like that could create opportunity for people to do that would be awesome.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's and that you it described it perfectly. It's just creating the opportunity
Yeah,
for people to do
right,
that without judgment and with
right.
someone that's doing the same thing and something that's super easy, non-committal on your phone. You could creep on it for months before you actually take the leap, but like
Yeah.
what is a Hinge, the dating app? Are you familiar with
Oh,
that?
no.
Uh, either it's I mean, it's like an upgraded
Yeah, yeah.
Tinder in a way, but,
Yeah.
like, I really love their marketing slogan, which is the dating app that's meant to be deleted, because, like, you're supposed to find somebody and
Yeah.
be with them, that's the whole point of the app, and I
Of
think
course.
that, like, Meetup would sort of that's the mentality as well, it's the app that's meant to find you friends so you don't have to use it anymore.
That's right. Dude,
Yeah.
that's catchy. I like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's theirs, I couldn't take that one,
No, I
but,
know. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's super catchy.
it's a cool idea,
Yeah.
yeah. I
I
just
love it.
I want people to make that stuff because, I
Dude.
don't have the funding or,
Yeah.
know-how to get something like that off the ground, but, like, if
Yeah.
I see it on Shark Tank in 2 years,
Of
I'll use
course.
it.
Yeah.
I won't
Where's my
blanch.
royalties?
Yeah.
Hey, you could at
That's
least put a
hilarious.
patent on the idea.
Hey, who knows? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, but I love where the center is of that connection, man, and that's so important. As humans, we need that connectivity because, like Marcelo said, it makes you feel great, dude. I know, same thing when I go and hang out with my buddies, or just get out and tap into reality and nature and people and the connectivity. You just feel great. It's what we need. It's hardwired into like our DNA as people. We require that. And it sets off endorphins and allows you to really feel good. So hopefully, like I said, once we get through these turbulent times, we can start to build amazing platforms like that and get the connectivity going.
Yeah, and that reminds me of a comment that I saw on Reddit, like, a couple days ago that really stuck to me. That was, "We we don't get a society that we ask for, we get a society that we build." And, like,
Yeah.
that really hit home in another way because, like, yeah, like, all of us are asking for all of this change, but, like,
Hmm.
just do it. Just be
Yeah.
like, just
Let's go.
yeah, let's go. Like, you can complain about stuff all you want, but, I
Yeah.
mean,
We
I have
need
a very low
doers.
tolerance for people complaining about something that they're not doing. Like, there's a
Totally.
lot of things I don't do in my life that could be better, but I'm also not gonna beat myself up for,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna complain about it
Yeah.
because
That's right.
if I'm not doing anything, then
Totally.
whatever.
That's
Yeah,
right. We need doers, man. More. Yeah. We
doers.
need we need a lot of doers right now because, talking is very powerful, but when we turn talk into action, that's when the magic happens and we can start to create powerful things. And that's where the doing, we got to start doing these things that we talk about. Otherwise, it'll just keep spinning. This wheel will just keep spinning, you know?
You always have such a good way of putting stuff like that where like I
Yeah.
feel like whimsical about it, where it's like light but really heavy at the same
Yeah.
time. You know, it's like you could take it at face value if you wanted to, but
Yeah.
like
It's
I mean,
heavy.
yeah, it's heavy. Like big proponent of like all right, so here's like a habit that I've been trying to stop for
Mhm.
years, and I think I'm getting a lot better at it, is
Yeah.
anytime you oversimplify something, no matter what it is, you're writing off, like in the way that Marcelo was talking about earlier, your open-mindedness to change something. So I want to, at the very least possible, never say that's just, and then belittle something, no matter what it is,
Mm.
because like paintball is something that, you know, it's as complex as we've made it, and all of the steps that we've taken. People can say, you know, it's just a game,
Mhm.
and you're right, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
And the same thing holds true for everything, you know, like what's outside your door? Oh, it's just a tree. There's
Yeah.
some botanist out there that could tell you all the way to like the molecular structure of what that tree is.
Yeah.
And just because you were too lazy to go into it doesn't mean you should belittle the
Wow.
complexity of anything. So
Yeah.
like that's a habit I've been trying to work on, is never calling anything just whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I love that, dude. That's so true. Everything has so much tremendous value actually. The connection of everything, you know, like we talk about is very valuable, and once again, it's a delicate fabric, and if you remove just a couple of these things that you don't think are super valuable but they are tremendously, you will have a completely out of whack system if you're not careful.
You'll have some purified water.
You'll have some purified water, baby. Yeah, it's for sure, dude. It's about being grateful, and you know, it comes down to humbling ourselves and really not getting caught up in how fast everything's going, and just slowing down and taking a breath and really being appreciative of what we have and the simple things like, you know, I know what I need. I need water. I need light. I need love. I need my family. I need paintball. You know what I'm saying? And there's like,
I love how that's
there's,
included.
yeah,
That's so
like
good.
Need
there's,
paintball.
yeah, it's like,
I'm with you on that one. I
it's a
agree.
requirement, you
Well,
know, and
I think everybody needs something that they are
yeah,
competitive with. I think that
Right.
is such
Well,
a fundamentally important thing to the human psyche, to have something that you are constantly trying to work on and improve at.
and this totally goes to the theme of what we're talking about. I think you can make that same list, but you replace paintball with purpose.
yeah,
You need
Right,
water,
right.
you need
Mm.
community, you need
Yes.
shelter, you need food. Purpose.
yeah,
Yes.
Purpose is, and I don't care what your purpose is, anyone that you know that has a purpose
yeah,
is always someone that you're interested in. It's
Yep.
very interesting when
Yep.
someone has a purpose,
yeah,
and like, because they're going somewhere. May not be
yeah,
to
Right.
where
Right.
you're going, but like it's
yeah,
when you have that, it's a powerful thing. So like,
dude.
yeah, I wish that upon anyone listening for sure, that
Dude, that
they
reminds me of
find
like
whatever that is.
it reminds me of Kid Cudi, like in that song, "Hey, Mr. Rager, Mr. Rager, tell me where you're going, tell us where you're headed." You know, it's like you, and we're all like on our own little journey, our own little rage. Everyone's the king of the castle of their own
Rage.
little, you know what I mean? Everyone's
Yeah,
their own little emperor or whatever of their reality, and you know, it's interesting, like you said, to see people going somewhere, and you're like, whoa, where are you going? And it's intriguing, and it's so vital to have that that purpose and that sense of community and having a tribe. We've been talking about that, like we all need a tribe in this life, and I think paintball is just an amazing tribe to be a part of. It's very special, dude. There's not very many things I've ever found in my life that are quite as connected as paintball. Like the pros connecting with the lower levels, and just the community in general is just so open armed and loving, and ready to help people grow if they apply themselves, you know. It's pretty
and that's
amazing.
one of the biggest reasons why I respect you guys for doing this and going on. You guys are creating a tribe of your own with
Yeah.
the play the game stuff, and both of you are very very positive and helpful people, and like let's just say if there is an energy, you can usually feel that in someone when you're around them. And so like Tyler, you're someone that like your energy is hot heat. So
Yeah.
like anyone who meets you in person, you're like, damn, Tyler's sweet. Like
Yeah.
the buddy I was talking about that went to our clinic, he was like, man, Tyler's the best. I was like, dude, he's yeah.
Bro, I love you
But
guys. Thank you. It's all
like
love. I'm
I
so
just hope
passionate.
that goes through the line and
Yeah,
into people's ears, and like that's why I'm pumped you two
dude.
specifically are giving that to people, at least a part of that energy, because
Yeah.
like no matter what time that we're in, like it's really important you surround yourself with people that do things like you guys. You guys are doers, you're doing it, you're
Yeah.
cutting the fat on all of the things you're finding, whether it's golf,
Yeah.
but then you're also, being forgiving to people that are still in a learning process. So it's like
Yeah.
you've got a good trifecta of creating a community, and I think that like
Wow.
the way that you guys are creating that, okay, so you guys listen to Joe Rogan,
Oh,
I
yes.
assume.
Of course.
Yeah.
In the same way that he changed the Comedy Store in quotes by making people want to help the people around them, I think that you
Right.
guys are going to do that in the long run for people who listen to your podcast within paintball communities.
Wow.
Love that.
So
That's
Dude, that's
part of the
powerhouse.
plan,
Keep
though.
going,
Yeah,
y'all.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
Absolutely.
Hey, it's all about the
that's good.
Trinity. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, get on him. Get
Yeah,
on him.
yeah. So if
Oh,
we
boy.
can potentially dive back into somewhat of a straight line of the story.
No.
See how good I am at diverting?
No
So
way.
good at
Listen,
diverting?
I love it. We love the tangents, and
That's
I
what
mean,
this is
we
all
knew
about.
that we knew this one with you was going to be like that. This is a special one for our viewers. This might be the best
I
one
appreciate you guys.
yet, dude.
Yeah.
Like man, Nick, you're just an amazing and very interesting person. You really are. You explain
was-
things in a way that I haven't. I listen to a lot of people. I've met a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. And the way your brain works is just a little different than most people I've met. And I really appreciate it. I think it's
No,
pretty
take that
awesome.
as a compliment. That's
Yeah,
really cool to hear.
it is. It's like it definitely has made me think about things a little differently just from the few talks that we've had, and it's not like we know each other extremely well, but we've had some interactions and had some really good conversations. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I just I'm again, we're just
when
stoked
we
to
were
have
in
you
Boston.
here. So.
Yeah, like when we were in Boston, I got to I've never really had the opportunity to like hang out with you one-on-one and pick each other's brain. It was super, super interesting conversations that I had with you. And, you're grounded, dude. You're grounded and you're here and you're in the moment, which is refreshing. It's hard to find these days. And it was super curious too, that we both have kind of parallel lives a little bit, like with your mom and dad and my mom and dad. And yeah, like the military background and
yeah. Oh, actually, you should tell people that, because that is so strangely parallel. I'm sorry, my dogs are going buck wild right now.
There
so
we
if you
go.
guys can hear that,
It's
I will
okay.
mute them while Tyler explains this.
No, this is great. This is great. So, like our dads both kind of come from a military background, and then obviously met our mothers and then built our families, but just the type of people that they are. And I even got to meet your dad at World Cup, super rad dude, and your mom, great people. And it's refreshing, like I said, to connect with another person who is like breathing the air and seeing the light and just like here in the moment, grounded and just acceptant of the good and the bad that's going on, and just building and being an awesome dude. So we're super stoked to have you and pick your brain on here for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. It's something that like I'm not usually good at sharing in a situation where there's a lot of people around, or especially like at an event. So if I ever write people off in person, I'm sorry. Not
He's
good
in the
enough.
zone, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, but when doesn't matter, like we get into a hotel room, a couple of us, and I can actually listen to you and you can actually listen to me. That's like where I vibe the most. So, like that's why when Marcelo, when you texted me and were like, you want to do this podcast? I was like, of course, because like we've already done a couple of basically. So, like, we already know we get along, and that's super important, because
for sure.
I mean, I feel bad sometimes, like at events, like at signings, I always try to give people like the most of my energy, but it's the most I smile all day.
Yeah.
I promise you. Yeah, and like
I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. And like I mean, you just said you're 30. I turned 31 a couple months ago, and like so, like our faces start to change, right? And like I was looking at my wrinkle marks in the mirror the other day, and like I have like a wrinkles over my eyes, because I always have like a furrow, like a scowl in a way, and like I have so little on like crow's feet to where I'm like not smiling that much,
Oh,
and so like
wow.
it made me think about like, man, maybe I'm not smiling enough that I don't have wrinkles right here.
Oh,
Dude,
whoa.
And
I
That's
have the
I think
interesting.
it'd be
gnarliest
more fun.
wrinkles now. My little curves.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh goodness. But
Dude.
yeah,
it's really good to show like the life you've led. You know, you're
Uh-huh.
smiling a lot, and you, like those are really important. I
Dude.
think for your aging
Okay,
to like
okay.
count your
All right.
smiles. You know,
I'll take
I
it.
love it.
I'll take
yeah,
any
you've had a lot
compliment
of
to my
smiles.
aging face that I can get.
Absolutely.
That's
Okay, so
hilarious,
so
Baby
man.
what
faces
so
are weird,
so
man.
what are the chances we could get back into your story?
Oh man. All right. I'll be good. I'll be good.
Let's start from like
We need someone like you, Marcelo, to
that's
act
right.
as
That, so let's start
our
with like
DP.
the tournament series. When did the tournament stuff kind of kick in and you started diving into that? And then how long did you play those kind of tournaments before you went pro or got into that kind of a program?
Oh man, so like the journey to pro was
Yeah.
such a long journey because
Good.
like I played every single division, some for multiple years
Wow.
before, like, because I always am, I want to beat the level
Yeah.
before I go to the next one.
A true
Like,
gamer.
yeah, true gamer at heart. I mean, you can ask my mom. I used to stay up all night, like,
Yeah.
uh, super tired for school. But
Yeah.
like the I'm trying to stay on the road.
That's
So,
all right.
but like I think I won with my team every division before I moved up, and I think that a lot of people are trying to speed their way to like the
Yeah,
goal,
right.
and you learn something specific in all of those divisions because generally divisions are all making a similar mistake and it becomes the game meta, and if you're a gamer you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But like basically you have a whole division that can't shoot anyone off the break.
Mhm.
So therefore, everyone's making their spots. The game is a completely different game than what's being played at
Yeah.
pro or the division above because of what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And why that's important is because you learn without having to be beaten down by that very first off the break shot. And so like I every division that I played, I really wanted to be at least proficient or good in that division and win the season at one point to go up. And luckily, again, I had friends to do that. But we originally started with a team that was the 3-man. Then we made a 5-man called Stronghold, and we played
There
in
we
our
go.
local Fox 4 tournaments. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. And then,
Stronghold. I like it.
yeah, we had white jerseys. It was sweet.
Yeah. Tight.
And then our 3-man, 5-man team over here at this competing field, Friendly Fire, they couldn't afford to let us go up any more divisions. They're a small little field, and I've always been helped sort of by an older, someone who knows what they're doing in terms of moving up the ranks.
Mhm.
And I had someone that basically said, "Hey, other field over here, can we combine teams to make a team that goes to nationals?" And they did that, and that's how I got to start playing NPPL. And that's where Friendly Fire Factory was the team that I played for. We won a bunch of local division,
Friendly
whatever.
fire. I
You
like
remember
that
the days
name.
of factory teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was a factory team. Well, we had 2 Fs, so you know you had to keep the
Yeah.
alliteration going.
Double F, baby.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so we combined with the Fox 4 team, which was 187, and then eventually we sort of just got absolved and became 187, and that's when we started really playing more national events, and we had a bunch of young uh, players that really like half of them really wanted to play, half of them were like just there because they enjoyed the game. And then that's when the separation occurs when the team gets really serious and those players that, you know, like they were there for fun. It's not about fun anymore. It's about winning because that's where these players have fun. And that's where we created the 187 that then played the D2, D1, and won the season in both of those. And
Yeah.
that's how we became pro as
And
187.
Oh,
can you elaborate on that? I think that there's a lot of teams that
yeah.
go through that difficult time of, you know, they have an organization, they're building, and you have half the guys who are super just with it, and then you have a portion that just isn't for some reason.
Yes.
How do you navigate that?
Well, I mean, feelings are going to get hurt unless you're super, super self aware, which some people are, but most aren't in terms of where they are in terms of skill level or motivation. And some people, it becomes their purpose to do one thing. And for a lot of us on that team, our purpose was to go pro.
Yeah.
And for some people, their purpose was to hang out with a bunch of people that they enjoyed hanging out with.
Yeah.
And so those two things didn't really match up. So, that's when, the relationship needs to either one needs to give up,
Yeah.
because there's no compromise there. There's not a way to compromise between wanting to win and wanting to just have fun.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and there's
It's
there's
difficult.
nothing wrong with either
Yeah.
of those sides. It's just like, yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And some people lose a lot of relationships and friends that way, but like I don't have any negativity towards people that aren't as insanely addicted
Yeah.
to playing shooters as I am.
Mhm.
If anything, I'm the one with the sickness.
Yeah.
So, like, if you wanna have fun, it's confusing to me, but, like, I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
you're probably in a better place,
Yeah.
So, like, you just have to draw that line and decide which direction you're going in, and as an individual, if you're someone that it really gets hurt by being pointed at as the one that just wants to, have fun or be around,
Mhm.
that hurts a lot when you're on that side for sure,
Mhm.
but, just realize that you're especially if those people really did become your friends, you hope the best for them, and,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's no need for hard feelings.
It
If
is
anything,
what it
you
is.
want them to win, because if they don't, then,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
where are you in there,
Yeah.
I told you so's are never good, but, like,
Yeah, and it is what it is, it's like just being able to swallow the pill, so to say, and
Take your
accept
medicine,
reality.
baby. Take your
Yeah,
medicine.
yeah.
and know where we stand. That's half the battle right there, because a lot of times there's all this ambiguity and a lot of things that are unsure or not known between the group, and it's like having clarity, knowing where we all stand, and not holding on to any negative energy. Like you said, just where we are is where we are, and this is my path. If you don't want to be, that's fine. I totally support you on your path, and I hope you'll support me on mine. But this is
Mhm.
where I'm going. I'm going pro. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like having that. Yeah.
And we're all going in crazy different directions, so to,
Hmm.
like, get mad that, you're
Yeah.
a bonded particle,
Yeah.
that your bond breaks,
Yeah.
like, you're still an element
That's right.
ready to do something new, so, like,
Absolutely.
there's no need to get mad at people for going on their own
Yeah.
direction, especially if it's a positive one, like,
Yeah.
only if it's a negative one do you really,
Mhm.
get to hold any feelings towards that, and hopefully, you help that person.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. I love that analogy. I love it. The elements too. That's good. Yeah, and then so
bonded.
you 187 made a name for themselves, it's like you guys climbed the ranks, like what teams dream about doing, and you made it to the top. And then kind of describe what it was like making that jump into the pro level, the first tournaments, and how that developed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and, like, the way that every division has a learning curve,
Hmm.
pro has the biggest learning curve through those
Oh
Absolutely.
divisions.
yeah, from
The
like
biggest
semi.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. And we were a group that were really hungry and really fundamentally sound, but not really overall team-based game movement skilled. And that is where pros pick you apart as a group, not as an individual. So I think that we won some points and we won some games on pure tenacity and like
I remember.
fundamentals alone. Just
Yeah.
fundamentals, right? Fundamentals
Yeah.
will get you far. It's 50% of the game.
Yeah.
But where does that 2 to 10% of those little things that a group is doing together really affect over the long run? Because the only way to measure something is really with a lot of data, and
That's right.
you could win one-on-one against a pro, or you could win one game against a pro team. But what is it after 100 games? Because I guarantee you, it's going to be in the bottom 5%.
Yeah.
Like, so that learning curve is another separation of, again, where we had to find some that were not wanting to go to that next step, and some that really wanted to be there, or if not higher than that. And
Yeah.
every time you come to those junctions in the road, there's going to be another split.
Hmm.
And like, I think that that's one of the things that led me to Impact, is like, I was someone that really, really wanted to win a pro tournament,
Yeah.
probably more than anyone or even a group of people combined on
That's
my
right.
team at the time. And that's something that I got to explain to some of them, but
Yeah. So
that's where the split
I want
came.
to jump into that too, actually, because that was a big move, and we talk about this. We actually were just talking about this with Mike Hinman. With, obviously there's a major imbalance with professional paintball teams. Some teams are heavily funded; they can pay for whatever player they want. And in my opinion, I'm like, that's good though. Like I want there to be a team that young kids can say, if I make it to Impact, I can make a decent living. Like it's good to have that. But at the same time, I also see the side of these teams are just taking away from, like 187 was an up and coming team, homegrown in their area. They probably inspired a lot of people in your area to play the game. And then you rip away one of their best players. So I see two sides of it. So I guess like my question is the first question I have is, when was the moment that you decided, and we talk about the anchor, that you wanted to become a professional paintball player? When did that moment happen in your career?
I mean, I think that thought
At the
process
birthday party.
came yeah, dude, it was
Really?
so early. It
Yeah, it
was
was
so,
me.
so, so
It was
early.
me too. Yeah.
I remember, and this is so nerdy, but I
You're
don't really care.
you're a true
But like I
competitor.
remember when I was little.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You're
a
a true competitor. Like that's where that comes from, is like I started playing golf. I'm like, I want to get to the
Yeah.
tour.
Yeah.
Because I want to be the best. And so like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think maybe if I'm 45, that gives me like 15 years of good practice. I can maybe make the tour. No joke. If I do the right things, like why not?
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah, I think you totally could.
Yeah.
But I remember wishing when I was a little kid, be like, I just want to do this. I just want to do this.
Dude, that's
Okay.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
I'll commit
Yes.
myself. I remember making
Yes.
promises to whatever
Yeah.
stars or whatever up there.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I will dedicate myself to this if you let me do this.
Wow.
So I remember being a little kid wishing that kind of stuff. So
Dude, that's amazing. I love that. That's so cool. That's rad.
But I mean, it is like it's so cringe looking back at it at the same time, like as an adult. But like now I'm becoming like an adult.
Yeah.
And I really don't care about.
Dude, no,
any of
that's
that. Yeah.
amazing, dude. You didn't realize, but you were broadcasting major at that point,
Yes,
exactly. You were
Well,
sending
it goes
that
out to exactly what you were saying earlier, Tyler, about like creating that connection and seeing where that goal is, and that's where that mental connection into the future comes from. Is
Yes.
you wishing so hard and then doing small steps along the way to achieve that wish. It's like, which one really did it? Was it the wish, or like was it the right penny, or what?
That's right. That's the magic right there, dude.
That's the
it.
magic.
It's amazing.
Unexplainable.
It is truly. And did Zach? Where did Zach Wake come from? Was he 187? I can't.
No. Zach
That was-
Wake? No.
Zach Wake was on another team in the pro. They shot like
Naughty Dogs,
autococker.
dude. He played for Naughty
No,
Dogs.
he did. I played on the Naughty Dogs like
With Zach Wake?
Yeah,
Zach Wake was a Naughty Dog.
but that's where he started. He was from Tennessee.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, that's who he played with. He
That's
didn't play
where
with the Tennessee
oh,
team.
wow.
Yeah, he
Okay.
was a naughty. He was a Naughty Dog.
Dude, shout out to the
Yeah,
Naughty Dogs,
Naughty
baby.
Dog.
Let's go.
The resurgence of the Naughty Dogs.
For
Aren't they,
some-
like, sort of
Yeah.
coming back.
I hope
They are. For some reason, I want to say that he also was on Ultimate.
Ultimate. That's right. Yeah,
Was he?
Ultimate.
Are you
was.
sure? Because I think I'm making it up.
was on Ultimate.
I remember him in a
Okay.
blue jersey.
Okay.
Was
All
Ultimate
right.
blue?
That's right. Yeah, and him and Dan, his dad, were both like Dan's always been there.
Yeah.
What made you think about Zach Wake?
I thought that he played for 187 for some reason.
No.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That's wild.
So then, yeah, you guys, obviously the learning
Hey.
curve coming into. Sorry. Yeah.
No. Yeah, the learning curve. But that's no. Go ahead, Ty. 'Cause I lost train of thought as well. I'm gonna try to think of what I was gonna say
We're
about.
holding on to the last one we got over here, people.
It's,
All right.
it's been a long
Fire
weekend.
up those cells.
I barely got any sleep over the weekend. We were road
Oh,
tripping
yeah.
to every spot. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I probably drove 2,000 miles since I
man.
left on Friday.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was
Dude's
a
a bit-
lot, dude. It was a lot. It
You
was a
left some of
mission.
yourself in the
It was
desert.
a
for
mission,
sure.
yeah. Oh, no, I do remember what I was going to say, and it's about relating, like, Nick. So you originally had the thought of being a professional player pretty early. The second question was Why did you leave 187 to go to Impact? And you kind of answered that. And I want to relate that to another message that I get from so many players, and it's this. And they're D5, D4, D3, D2, divisional paintball players that say, hey, what should I do? I'm with this team. They've been my friends for a long time. I love the organization. It's all of my friends, and we're in this together, but they don't share the same drive I do. And so I have an opportunity to play with another team that they share more of the drive and the goals that I want. They really want to win. They're more professional, this and that. What should I do? And you are crossing a boundary of quote unquote loyalty versus looking out for yourself in the best interest of yourself. And I think a lot of divisional players face this. They say, do I stick with this team because look, these are my friends and it's the right thing to do. We started this team. Or do I take this opportunity to play with a team that's a little more professional? They have more structure. They're trying to climb the ranks. That's a tough decision for so many players. And it's, again, a question I get asked a lot. It seems like you made that answer in the pro division. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that drive that you have, I think the very first thing that your brain or where your mind should go is, can I take them with me? Because I mean, at the very least, like, I know that my drive for paintball was a very driving factor on how far 187 went. I had a lot of very competitive teammates that really, they would have been competitive at anything. Like Dan Zaleski is a great example where, like, you could play that guy in hopscotch, he's going to try his hardest. And I love that about him. Yeah. But like, when it comes to paintball specifically, I know that I was the only one breaking down games, finding out how teams are playing together, and my drive for that and interest in that was also how we practiced, and I brought a lot of that to practice. So trying to see if you can bring everyone up around you, because that's way more rewarding. Trust me, that's way more rewarding. Yes, and you have a much better time, because I'm a big fan of both. If you have a question between chocolate and vanilla, get 2 scoops. Like, both. Like, what are we doing here?
I like that.
So, yeah, so keep 2 your friends, scoops. Keep your drive. If you can do that, then bring that as far as you can go. Fill up your stomach with that first. Yes. And then, luckily, like for you, if you're listening and that's your problem currently, we've also given you a lot of the verbiage of what you might be feeling without being able to understand what is frustrating you within your team. And that's something you can also talk about to your teammates. Be like, listen, I just feel like I want this a lot more, and I understand that you don't, but how can I make you better? And do you want to get as good as I want to get? And if you have that conversation, generally that will motivate someone enough to try harder than they already were. But if there is eventually a point where there's a ceiling there and you feel it and you know it, then start thinking about looking at another team, because I guarantee you, I mean, all of those stupid little sayings are right. The grass is always greener. You're going to go to that team. There's going to be the same amount of negatives as there is positives. Yes, you might be able to live that drive that you want, but there will be negatives somewhere here or there. Maybe there's someone that you hate on the team, or maybe they treat you poorly, or you don't get to play. There's going to be negatives, but like, you always have to weigh that if you can have both, or you're going to give up the vanilla so that you can just have chocolate, but you better not be missing vanilla while you're eating it. Just eat that chocolate and enjoy it.
Dude, that is such a good nugget. Yes. People always want what they can't have, and half the time they make the decision and still want the opposite decision. They're like,
oh, that's the worst.
It's the worst. You can't do that.
You're driving back in the car with your girl, and she's like, God, I should have got vanilla. And you're like, you could have.
Dude, that's gold right there, dude. That was 2 scoops, baby. Live life with
2 scoops.
Oh, please. It's so much merch ideas for you guys. Please do live life with 2 scoops. It's so good.
That's funny. I swear, like, when you first said 2 scoops, I was like, that's a shirt. You have an ice cream cone with 2 options on it, options of like good or bad. 2 scoops.
Ooh, double up.
Like, same wavelength. Start selling those things. Dude, I'll take one.
Let's go, baby.
I'm not gonna make anything. I'm an idea guy, so I have no problem with
Dude, we
with
gotta
any of
we
those
gotta land
apps.
you a deal where someone buys your brain for like the next 10 years and then you can just make ideas for them. They're like, all right, we need like at least 10 ideas a year out of you, and then we'll just give you 100 grand a year. You just keep pumping out these ideas.
I'm not lying to you. That would be my dream job if I didn't have to actually work for the idea and I just got to come up with stuff. But everyone thinks they're a genius when it comes to ideas. So
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
you know,
Yeah.
so everyone thinks their idea is good. I'm sure I have a billion bad ones too. So like,
Yeah. But
but
you
dream job. If you were to pay me 100 grand and I get to think of ideas that'll make you $1 billion,
there we
I'm
go.
cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Totally. That'd be tight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because dude, the work is way harder.
Yeah.
Trust me. The idea is
yeah,
easy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
actually-
an idea man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I come up with ideas all the time, and I'm like, okay, this is a $1 billion idea, but it's
Yeah.
the work that goes
Right.
into it that's so hard. I'm like, okay, can't do that.
That's terrifying.
And
That's
the
you'd have
idea-
to create a new purpose.
Yes.
on
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
idea, and
Exactly.
You're already in love.
Yeah.
know.
Exactly.
Yeah, then you write down the idea and it sits in your book forever, and you're like, well, there goes that idea. It's like
Yeah,
you
could
see
have helped the world.
I actually was just in Wisconsin, and this guy, that's what he does for like a living. Is he does what we're talking about? He comes up with ideas, and they pay him a bunch of money. There's like this,
Oh
What?
wow.
yeah, and that's kind of what made me think about that. And shout out to Wisconsin. I was out there this last weekend.
Yeah.
Speaking of some players, Aftermath, you need to pick up Patrick from Competitive Edge Paintball.
That's
Oh.
a huge shout out.
Really?
Dang.
Wow.
That-
How
respect.
come?
Aftermath is in that area.
Right.
Dude named Patrick. He's really good, and I think that he can make the jump and become something.
How old
Yeah.
is he?
See, if I'm
How
on
old is he?
Aftermath and Tyler says something like that, Tyler's not gonna just do that. I'm like, what's that guy's number?
Yeah.
Like,
Are you kidding?
I'm pausing right now and going, hey,
Yeah.
who's this Patrick guy?
Yeah, he's 30 years old. He's been in the game for quite a while. He owns the field Competitive Edge, and he's not
Wow.
not far off from being able to accomplish some stuff in paintball. I can just see it, So I actually had a long conversation with him and told him he needs to attack that as well. So I hope that something will come to fruition from that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Major
I hope so too.
dude.
yeah, dude. Let's go.
Yeah. That's what play the game's all about. So
Yep.
where were we in this Nick LeVall story?
We got to pro and we're talking about moving over to Impact and two
Yeah.
scoops.
Woo, 2 scoops. Moving over to Impact. How did that go down? Because again, core member of 187, a team that was rising through the ranks, and then you went for the big dogs, and they obviously saw the skill and stuff you could bring to their organization. No question as to why they would want you on their team. But what was that like for you? Because I know it wasn't easy. That can't be an easy decision.
Yeah, that definitely was not easy because I had been going with the two scoops for a while, and like there's a lot of talent on 187, and those are all my friends, and I am a very much I either do something well or I don't do it at all. Generally, it's not doing it because I don't think I can do it well or that I will do it well, and so I knew what that separation would be for my friends because like a paintball team, if you want to be really successful, is going to be tight on the outside of the net just as much as they're on the inside of the net. So, I mean, I realized the commitment that I was going to have to make to a whole bunch of people that I didn't really know for a goal that I had. And so I knew that a lot of those friendships were going to diminish in a large way. So that was really the hardest part of leaving 187, especially the owner Dave Painter, who actually just sold Fox 4, was hugely helpful and encouraging to everything that I did for the previous 10 years in terms of paintball. And someone that helps you that much and then saying to them that, hey, I'm gonna go help another team, it hurts both sides. There's no winner in that conversation. So that was the biggest thing, was the relationships. But on the upside, I knew that it was something I really wanted to do. My goal was pretty small. I wanted to win a pro event, and I didn't see my team doing that. And Impact as a team, they were reforming, and Dave Baines is a salesman. He called me up at work. I don't really still to this day know how he got my number.
Sounds like
but
my story with
he-
Mike Hinman.
Yeah.
Seriously,
He
called
tapped
my
your phone.
house. I was 13 years
Called
old.
your house.
He called my house. I didn't have a cell phone. I was 13. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, that's
He
odd.
called my house. My dad was like, Mike Hinman's on the phone for you. And I was scared at first. Because back then, Mike was a hardcore dude. You know what I mean?
He's like,
Like,
what did I do wrong?
first thing I thought was like, what did I do wrong? Like, I know him and his boys at the field were thugs. You know, they
He's
were down to
intimidating
ride.
to adults, let alone a 13-year-old.
Like, and he's like, hey, I'm forming this team, Aftermath. Would you like to come play? What's funny is I originally was like, I don't know. I don't think so. Because I was trying to rebuild my team, Die Kids. I was the captain and founder of that team. And I mean, so looking back now, I can't believe it was even a question of what to do, you know. But similar story. Like I had my friends that I was trying to build with, and I had to make that leap to Aftermath, and then I had to do the same thing from Aftermath to the Ironman. So, sorry, it's not about.
That's true. No,
this is more.
No, I'm interested because like you have to do that process multiple times, and like I mean, granted, it probably got a little bit easier each time because you knew what was about to happen, but still, it never feels good from one of those moves to another. And like, I don't fault people at all for not wanting to have that conversation or make that move because A, it's hard. B, it's a risk. You might not get that goal that you were trying to achieve. And C, it might hurt you to the point where it wasn't worth it in the first place. So like you just have to weigh your own options as an individual. I would never say to anyone make that leap for a better team or like leave the team that you have when you could possibly bring them up. So like it's so individual. It's so individual.
It's all unique to each person and their circumstance. What's happening with that organization. Totally. So Dave Baines calls you. What does he say on the phone?
He's so they had just lost a bunch of players, a bunch of really good players. Ryan Moorhead, Greg Sewers, Chad George, Tim Montresor, RIP, miss that guy.
I love you. Should.
But they basically left a vacuum of a team. And so the idea, and especially like having the hard time of leaving one team to go to another established one is really hard. But one where you get to sort of be a part of the build, you can sort of put your footprint in that team, in the culture and whatnot. So honestly, I told him no a couple times. He called me a bunch of times through the week, and he told me, just think about it, like really think about the opportunity. Yeah, and I called my parents, and I was like, "What do I do?" Like, I mean, what was I like 20, 25 or something at the time, and so didn't quite know what to do. No, are we frozen?
No, you're good.
Okay, we're not frozen. Okay, cool. Yeah, didn't quite know what to do, and so my parents sort of led me on. They basically said, "Follow what you think's right," and I really saw the opportunity and impact. And luckily for me, it's paid off really well because I wanted to win one tournament, and I've won more than that. So like, I'm super grateful on my friends being okay with the decision that I made, and then also the decision I made. I'm just grateful in terms of paintball letting me taking me in and letting me do what I want, which was shoot people and make a good team. So
how many years now have you been on Impact?
This is my 7th, I believe.
Awesome.
No, 6th. 6th. So this is my 7th year pro because I only played one with but something I always want to tell people, especially that are trying to go pro, dude, the first year I played on Impact, I played 1 point the whole year. 1 or 2. I did not play at all because, like the coach needs to trust what you're doing. They need to see that spark in the way you're training. There's a lot that goes into it, but I mean, I knew that that's what I wanted. So I was willing to take that to the chin, get rid of my ego and learn from players like J-Rab, from people like Dave Baines. Like I had a lot of really amazing players. JC on my team, which I've taken all of these little things that they do good. They do better than anyone else. And I've taken a little bit of that. Like I've been lucky in that sense.
Well, I think that's a big, so when I made the decision to go from Aftermath to the Ironman, it was Oliver Lang called me and Mouse, and it's
really?
like, and at that time,
that's a pretty cool call.
Yeah. I mean, dude, we're 16 years old. I was 15, actually. Mouse was 16. And it's like, I remember me, Mouse, and one of our other Aftermath teammates, Ronnie Filipponi, was at a Padre baseball game in San Diego when we got the call. And it's just like you have somebody of that stature in the game that you can go and learn more from than you're going to learn wherever else you are. That was the tipping point. It was like, man, I obviously we wanted to see it out with Aftermath and go pro and chase those dreams as well. But the opportunity to be with someone like at that time too was Oliver Lang, Nikki Cuba, Mike Paxson, Todd Adamson,
yeah.
Billy Saransky. I mean, the people that were on this team were so legendary. It was like,
and even to this day, those guys will punk out most people in the world.
And then Shane Pistana as the coach, it was like, man, hard to pass this up. I think we have to take this opportunity because it's going to help us as players more than any other thing we can do, and sometimes you do have to be selfish. And unfortunately, that's the way life goes. You have to be selfish and you want to try your best not to harm other people along the way, but you do need to look out for what's in your best interest and trim the fat, right? Like trim the fat. That's kind of what trimming the fat is you're looking out for yourself more than external factors that might not be the case. And not saying that Aftermath was the fat. I mean, honestly, I think if we would have stuck together, it would have taken more years, but that team could have gone on to be the next dynasty, and
absolutely.
Yeah. And so there's some, I definitely don't want to call it regret, but there's definitely a thought in the back of my mind constantly of what if we just kept that team together? You've got Rainey, Mouse, Dalton, myself, Bobby Avila, Stephen Pitts. Like you just had, the list goes on. I mean, there were so many players. Tyler, you were on that team in 2009 when we came back. Like if Zach Wake, like if you keep that team together, what do they accomplish? Honestly, it probably could have been a lot. And it's all, hearsay because we didn't, but like, so that crosses my mind sometimes is like, man, what if we would have stayed and took that road? Could have been pretty special, but the road that I did end up taking, I don't regret at all because that was incredibly special and totally crucial to my growth as a player, as a person. Being around those older guys, these legends in the game, gave me such a deeper connection to paintball, I feel. And, it's just, it was a greedy or selfish decision, as you would call it, but might have been the best decision I've ever made. I don't know if I'd be here if I didn't make that decision.
Yeah. And who's to say that team would have gone in that special direction that you see it could have gone in? There's a lot of different paths. Yeah, so, absolutely.
Who was on the team when you first got on the team, Nick? The Impact team, yeah.
Both Yakimex, so Zach and Zane.
Yeah.
Justin Cornell, Josh Womet.
One of my favorite players. Just gonna put that.
Oh yeah,
one of my favorites.
He's a savage human being.
Savage human being.
You know what's so interesting about JC is his ability to. We all are a little bit who we are when we play, when all the chips are down.
He will punk you out, bro.
He's got some rage in him. But he's also really good at compartmentalizing that, and he's a really, really good, thoughtful guy off the field. Right, sometimes that rage comes out, but he gets to use that in the game when he wants to stomp down the side of a field. So
I played on Impact for a little bit with JC and the boys and everything, and I loved playing on the same line as JC. I feel like we both have that rage on the field.
Yes.
And off the field, like that lighthearted,
that's actually really true.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but that's very true.
Yeah, he's my dude. Big shout out to JC.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I need to give him a call. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's when I was living up in Canada, we tried to get together a few times. He's definitely past teammate for sure. He's definitely a guy that I would consider a brother.
Yeah.
And so JC J Rab, who's
all-star,
probably the most incredible individual player. I've seen that guy pull off more 1-on-3s than anyone in the world. It's weird.
He's like our Glenn Takamoto kind of.
Right. I remember Glenn used to pull off the craziest things too, where you're like, no, that shouldn't have happened. Yeah. That's not good math.
Yeah.
But sometimes people just have that special knack for when they're behind on the odds, they find a way to pull out that 2%,
Yeah.
And like I always view paintball in these made up percentages that I make up in my own mind.
Yeah,
But like
Alex Frazier would eat you alive on these percentages right now.
oh, that's totally fine. I know that they're not accurate, but they make sense to me. And paintball can't really be broken down in those percentages yet.
It's getting
But like I see the way that this game is going to evolve to the next couple levels.
Mhm.
And like, all right, so I'm so excited. I was thinking about this in my car ride. The day that if I have the opportunity to become a coach
Yeah.
and I'm a well-funded team,
Mhm.
I guarantee you it'll be a whole different team than that's ever existed because none of, and no offense to any of the coaches in the game,
Mhm.
it's just that like I feel like I could do it better than you.
Wow. Dude,
Yeah.
that's tight.
Because like
I love that.
all of these odds and percentages no one's using. Like someone made an app in the last event where it like heat mapped the breakouts. You could stack breakouts on top of each other. And I remember being like, dude, this is on an iPad, like trying to show people. And they're like, dude, that's stupid. And I was like, what?
No. Yeah.
Like you have the percentage they went to the Dorito one.
Yeah.
It's 90 and we're not shooting it. Like, duh.
Yeah.
So like just those little things, like if especially if for some reason some large influx of money comes into paintball and it comes to like
Yeah.
other skill based games like baseball and the way Moneyball, that whole idea changed baseball, paintball will change drastically in percentages and statistics on players and teams as a whole. And I'm super interested in when that change happens, and if I hope I get to be there for it.
Oh yeah, it's coming, man. It's only, the technology is brewing. And while we're on the topic of coaches, what's it been like playing under Dave Baines? I had the luxury of being around Dave when I was a kid a lot. I grew up in Northern California with Dave in the same area. I cut my teeth at Dave's Field Capital Edge Paintball for a
Yes.
long time out there. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Dave just as a person and a businessman. He's savvy, dude. And he's one of the few people in paintball that's made a very successful life out of paintball and done a damn good job at it. So what's it been like?
That's the truth.
Playing under Dave as a coach? He's a hard-nosed dude,
Right. I mean, talking about his biggest attributes right away is like, I mean, he, for people that don't know, he used to pretty much play the back and shoot people off the break really consistently. And one of the things that still like blows my mind that Dave is so good at reading a box and a player.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, yes.
We are pretty good at it as individuals, but before, like if Marcelo's walking out onto the field, Dave can go, he's going there and this fast. And it's like a weird thing that like not many, I've never had the privilege to be around someone that can do it as well as him.
I agree with you, Nick. I got to say, I've stood, well, one, he coaches Team USA. So I've seen firsthand, I've been able to play under that. But I try to always, and maybe I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to, because we're on the show and it's all good.
Yeah.
But I always try to,
your audience,
I always try to like situate myself around other teams' coaches. I want to see what their thought process is. And like when you guys came down and practiced us, when I was hearing Dave make these calls, I was just like, how the fuck does he know this?
It's crazy.
Truly, he was calling certain things that I'm like, he's spot on. And I think we're doing such a great job of this. He's really good at that. Really good.
I think that's his best paintball attribute is being able to read a box and saying what other team's about to do.
Wow.
And then I guess outside of the field, he really enjoys paintball as a game. And he wants to play, dude. He's always getting out there at his own field. Or he's like, hey, Nick, you want to play this 10-man event? Because he loves it, man. And like that sort of thing, especially like I think that like not to get politics, this is totally emotional.
Sure.
So when you hear this term, please cut out all politics, but trickle down effects of emotion when it comes to the head of your organization really enjoying what they're doing, it makes it down to the players. And he's definitely someone that wants to be a part of paintball all the way through. Like he's one of the funders of the NXL. He goes to every 10-man event. He helps younger players come up at his field. He has established players come to his field. Like Tyler, like I've seen you there. You go there and you get to play and you're smiling and he's smiling. And so those are his two best things. Like he loves the game and he's really good at telling you how the other team, giving you the information that you need to make good decisions before you're about to start a point.
Right.
So like a lot of respect for Dave. I don't know if
Hell yeah.
I'll be as good in that
Yeah.
realm ever, but
Well,
like
at
that's
least he's your friend and he can help you a little, you know? So
yes, yeah,
dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. I grew up, I was just like 12 years old, and I would play Wednesday nights. Any opportunity I could, I would play. If the field was open, I'm there 100%. So me and
nice.
my dad would go out there on Wednesday nights, and Dave Baines would be out there, Rich Telford would be out there. It was when Thomas Taylor first got on Excessive, and those were like the people that, you know, if I didn't show up to those Wednesday nights, I would have never made those types of connections and got to play
Exactly.
heads up with those legends. Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
I got lucky to do that, but that was my situation that I created because I chose to show up on those nights, you know? And I'm just so grateful for Dave. Like you said, he's a genius with the paintball IQ and understanding
Oh,
it. Yeah,
oh man, yeah, and
sure.
that's one thing. Like as I was saying earlier, and Marcelo touched on it too about trying to learn from others, especially in the game, because the way that we all go in different directions. Some of us form certain specialties because we go further down a path of whatever it is, snap shooting, up the break shooting, and if you can steal a little bit of that map that that person took to get there and put it into your own game, like that's why surrounding yourself with people that are enthused about learning about making paintball more complex than just a game. Like the more complex you can make it, the tighter those margins become in those luck factors and those skill factors. So like by saying just a game, you're giving yourself a disservice. Make it complicated, make it super nitty-gritty, because then like all of those little mistakes you're making are so small that they are never the big mistake that another team makes or another person makes on another team. Like that's super important. That's why all of us, I think, are sponges for. If you hear Dave talking, if you're in the pit somewhere, I'm the same way, Marcel. I always listen
Of course.
to coaches
Yeah,
and
of
stuff.
course.
Yeah, it's. I mean, competitive advantage
How
is
would
one
you
thing,
yeah.
but personal knowledge is
Yes.
probably the more
Yeah.
serious factor there.
Well, I do it from a place of learning. Like,
Yeah,
again, I know that my way or the ways that I have been taught have not been the only way, because there's other camps that are winning, yours included. I've never learned from anyone in your camp, you know?
right.
So I've never had the perspective of literally anybody in your camp. I mean, Mouse, Kyle now, like sure, but that's not the makeup of Impact. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
so it's like any chance I can get, I like to watch all of your guys' matches. How you guys, okay, here's your breakout. You know, I have a good understanding of how the field gets played. So this is usually post event, so I know how the field should be played, but now I'm watching your breakouts. I'm like, oh, they broke the rules here, but it paid off this way, you know? And like,
Yes,
like
yeah.
one really good thing, and actually, Nick, you, again, something that you've kind of taught me, um, or I should say, given me a way to explain a concept that I've always
Right.
understood in a really good
Yeah, put
way.
it into
Yeah,
words.
dude, absolutely. But it's recognizing these patterns, right? Like when you're at events, and you did this in Boston, but it was like find the patterns. Teams are going to play in these patterns, and then you got to be the first one to break the pattern. And that's how you're going to win events, is like you recognize patterns, you see the pattern, and you find a way to beat the pattern, you know? And then that might even happen in 2 or 3 times in an event, but you got to be ahead of that stuff. Like, and it's something that, you know, I think most pro players, at least at the top level, they understand that. But I
Absolutely.
loved the way that you explained it. And I actually carry that into the few clinics we've done since then, pattern recognition, you know? And
That's
so
awesome.
major shout out to you. And it
Well, in the same way that Dave is really good at reading the field, my only skill really is to put things into words, and I think you guys have touched upon that a couple times, like
yes. Yeah,
analogies
totally.
and all that.
Totally.
I'm just like I try to be very in tune with what I'm trying to feel, and then I
Totally.
like to communicate that because I don't have a ton to give, like in
Yeah,
terms
you
of
do.
charity, in terms of material, but like I do have a lot to give in terms of putting things into words that I think a lot of us are feeling. And so
Right.
like when it comes to like being on a team, I think every team needs someone like that, because like for you guys, yours is Yosh, right? Like Yosh is the guy who's like, if you two are arguing about something, he's the one who steps in and goes, you guys are saying the same thing,
Yes, for sure.
and here's where your connection
Yes.
is, like,
Yes.
so if anything, I'm that role on my team, and that's that's sort of where I come to be able to say,
Okay.
like,
Yeah, right.
Marcelo, what you're thinking is this thing, and everyone goes, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
You put it
like
together.
every team needs that, Yeah.
Awesome. And you're the dude, you're part of the grassroots of the whole rebirthing and success story of Impact. You've played a major role in success of the team, and you play the middle of the field as good as anybody that's ever done it. You're very aware of what's going on around you. You're a very good communicator. You make your shots count, and it's a skill set that is hard to acquire. Playing the middle of the field is not an easy space to be because you kind of have double the threat, on both sides. So can you kind of break down what goes into your processing and how you navigate doing that so well for a player that's trying to break that open?
Okay, I mean, I think going back to what Marcelo was saying of pattern recognition, I think a lot of it has to do with the way that um, when I'm playing, I see the paintball game happening from a bird's eye point of view in my head, like in my third eye almost. I'm almost blind in my eyes.
Right.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like my eyes only open up when my shot is about to happen, but then other than that, I'm thinking about what's going on the rest of the field. I'm sure you
Your
guys can attest to that.
ears too, and
Right.
listening.
Like Marcelo's a great communicator. He's always tucked way in, super small, but yet he knows everything that's going on. I think that step right there is the most important part about becoming a center player is being able to listen and take in information and then verbalize it and then react off of that. And so like players like A-Rod, Marcelo, like anytime you see a player on your team that for some reason shouldn't know what's going on over there, but they do because they were open enough to listen to it, that should be your center guy. And I think I was lucky enough that Dave and Bart saw that and I volunteered for it. I was like, I want to do that because they gave me that opportunity to basically take that oh, my dogs are about to go at it again. But
I like
Dog's
it.
name.
Hey, this is
yeah,
raw and real, dude. We're good. The
raw and
listeners,
real.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a positive thing. They're having fun,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like
dog.
just being able to see the field as a whole and see your own players as a whole, and then be reacting off that. To me, like I see that as it's something that's just in me. But like when I see someone like you, Tyler, that you're one. I always tell you, and I'm sure probably not many people or even in pros know this, but I always go up to Tyler and I tell him, Tyler, stay away from me. When we're playing on the field, I do not want to engage with Tyler. It's terrifying to me. His one ball is so fast and accurate that like I have to respect it no matter what. So he could just like wink at me and I'm in my bunker. Like I'm not messing with that. So we all have like I look at things like that and I'm like how like I can't do that as well as he can. So you see something that I do and it comes almost naturally to me. I don't really have to think about it that much. And like same thing with like Marcelo is so loud and so cognizant of what's going on in the field that to put him in a spot like the middle or something where he would need to be quiet and he would need to be sneaky, you're taking away from all of your other players where he can be like, hey, Blake, Tyler just got shot in the snake. And like, dude, I don't know if any divisional player should know this. Dude, most divisional back players, they don't give you any information.
Right.
They're terrible.
Right. Well,
And Marcelo is like the guy who's not only giving you information but the pertinent information. Like Marcelo is seeing the game as a whole, telling the people that need to know those things at the right moments. Like it's about taking personalities, I think, and then finding their spot on the field. And so like I'm sure you guys like after describing that sort of see that like I'm not to me doing anything crazy special. The same way Tyler's like my snapshot's not incredibly special, but like in
That
terms of
strengths.
putting you in that
Yeah.
spot where you get to do that strength, then it looks super special.
Totally.
That's
So
huge.
finding the opportunity to use your strengths to succeed, I think is really helpful.
We're
Hell
all
yeah.
unique humans, we're all unique players,
Absolutely.
and being able to accentuate those strengths. Because just like how in real life, we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and we have to translate that over into the field and then heighten those for those players for sure.
But you look
Yes,
at
yes.
like the Houston Rockets right now. I don't know if either one of you have followed the NBA too much. Tyler, I know you watch from time to time. Nick, I'm not sure if you do, but the Houston Rockets have like totally shaken up the NBA because they got rid of all their big guys. They're just totally small ball. So every single player that's on the floor is under like I want to say 6'5", like it's something kind of crazy. They have no rebounding ability, but they're like, hey, we can outrun people and get a lot of 3-pointers. And
They're just creating a new meta,
yeah,
baby.
totally.
Just a new meta.
And Mike D'Antoni, their coach, is he's taking, okay, this is my team. These are my strengths. We're going to run with it, and we're going to put people in position to win. I'm not going to try to make this 6'5" guard play a center position in a traditional center position role, and I do a lot of coaching with teams, and it's so funny. I actually had this team, again, major shout out to my boys from Wrecking Crew out of New York. I've been coaching them for about 2 years. I work with them pretty deep. Love those guys. We went to one event, and the field layout was set up to where the snake was okay, but the Dorito side was definitely the dominating force. It was a very fast, wrap and go, easy to get down the field and get a lot of kills. So
it's a fun one.
Yeah, fun one. I love those. So their snake player wasn't having much success. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put you over on the Dorito side. He was like, I've never played the Doritos. I said, you're going to do well over here. Right.
Yeah.
And their whole team was like, are you sure? He's our snake guy. He's our snake. I'm like, trust me, his skills from over there are going to pay off over here.
So
he might have been the MVP and we won the tournament. And and everyone was like, you're a genius. I'm like, it's not that much of a genius, man. I just like his skill is attacking, and this field is dominant down the Dorito side. So let's put him over there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
He wants to go, let him go.
Right.
That's like it's like JC. Like, why would you put him in the back center?
Exactly.
No.
Dude, let the boy feast.
Yes.
If he has a chance to feast, let him feast. And it's like you recognize that that personality on their team was the guy who wanted to go forward and shoot people in the back, and he'd die for it. So you put him in his best position to succeed.
Yeah.
And like
totally.
I think that's in the same way you're talking about the NBA team. Like there was a time where, remember when everyone was like, we have to have like all super tall people, and like instead of having like a short guy, that could like.
Hold on,
So
wait. When was this? I never got that memo because I would have been on.
Wasn't
anything.
it like in the gotcha.
Wall era?
Not, it's short in relativity to the NBA.
Okay,
no, but like a point guard. You know what I mean? You have like a guy who's like guarding the rim.
Yeah.
But now players are like everything now. Like they're more balanced as a whole unit. Like everyone can shoot threes. Everyone can get up to the rim. So like everyone's super tall. So like you have a team owner that's recognizing, let's go.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about paintball. I thought you were talking about paintball. Everyone had to be tall. I was like, wait, hold on. I haven't gotten that
Basketball.
one. Yeah, absolutely. Basketball. Big boy ball. 100%. Yes, you're right.
Totally. So like that's now the pattern, and there's a way to break it with these smaller players that are going to play fast and low. And like then everyone's going to get all smaller people, one big guy, and then it'll just it's just a cycle of patterns for the same problem. And so like it's just being a little bit ahead of that pattern.
It'll probably go back to tall. Exactly, you're right. Like everyone changed. Like, okay, well now we could dominate them with a little more athletic tall people. Like, 100%, dude. That's sports is constantly trying to be ahead of the patterns. And that's why, like, I love the way you put that at the summer camp, and I've taken it with me every clinic I've done since. That. Like, pattern recognition is something that I've always taught, but not in the way that you did. You truly like explained it so well, because that's what happens at every event. There's patterns that are made and broken, and the teams that recognize them and create the new ones before the other ones, that's the team that wins every time.
The only thing that sucks for everybody is when the meta pattern is like really slow ball and no one moves.
Yeah, that sucks.
Everyone's like, oh, paintball sucks nowadays. Like, no, that's just what everyone has to play now. It's like all of us want to go hard sometimes. And I think that like, honestly, I've been thanking the Russian Legion the last couple of years because they've been going hard, risky paintball, very risky, high reward against teams that are playing slow, low ball. And dude, I hope I get to play on the team that gets to go hard fast, because like I love that kind of paintball, but like sometimes we just have to play the boring
totally
way.
But you know what, the layup in the last 2 years when they had the bunker modulation change, the game changed. You can't there has not, in the past 2 seasons, Nick, and correct me if I'm wrong, the past 2 seasons there has not been one field that you can go to 5 spots and lock off the field and win a game. Not one. Can you think of one?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot faster.
Vegas. The Vegas event that we won against Houston Heat. I think that was a field that all 5 guys could make it without risking and lock off the whole
What
field.
year was that?
That was
I think it was last year.
19?
Was it
Oh,
19?
yeah,
It
you're
was,
okay. So I will say, because I remember
That to
Greg
me-
went to the first Dorito and like locked off his zone.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
like I did the same
Okay,
thing, and I
okay,
only remember that because
okay.
it's like
But
not the type of
here,
play that I like to play. It was kind of boring for
ha-
me. I shot 9 pods at a bounce shot,
there
Yeah.
were
and so like that's the only reason I
there were a
remember it.
there were a couple of fields that were like that and a couple spots on that field. But if you were to compare that to say like MAO 2014 when Dynasty won, and literally it was 5 spots and you couldn't go anywhere. There was like no secondaries. You know what I mean?
It
Like
sucks.
that kind of
That's no
paintball is
one
not
likes that.
around anymore. So you are right. I do remember, yeah, last year in Vegas,
It's
it
way
was a little
faster
more
right now.
locked down. But overall, the fields are just way faster. The design that Jason Trozen is doing with the layouts and the addition
I
of
agree
the
with that.
6 massive bunkers, the fields
Yeah.
are so much more fast now, and it's fun. It's cool. It's like what I do hate is some of the layouts are very luck based, in my opinion. It's like, hey, close your eyes, and if you just run around this spot, you might shoot 3 people. I'm not a big fan of that, but they're exciting to watch. You look at Chicago 2 years ago. Literally, if you ran around the snake, like you literally closed your eyes. You wouldn't know if they were over there with you. This is when Ironman made it to the semifinals against Russian Legion. But that was a type of field where you would just like run all the way to the 50 snake on the break because no one could shoot you. And then you would just like go around, leap of faith, and you'd get 3 kills. It's like, so the kill count leaders were a bunch of players that typically aren't your smarter players. They're just the ones that are down to ride. They're like, I'm just gonna close my eyes and go. But that's like how.
But to me, like that's the best thing why paintball changes its layouts.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
We have different
I agree.
layouts every time. So if whoever you are at any point, if you don't like a layout, sorry, I'm gonna get these dogs out of here real quick.
Okay, yeah, no worries,
Great.
no worries. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, they're going buckle
It's
out.
all good.
I love it,
Like
dude.
they're just having fun. But like
Yeah, let 'em live,
but
baby.
I've played other sports, basketball, football, and like you're gonna do a job and it's gonna be a very narrow, very small percentage of why people are better than others. But in paintball, where you have a different job, even if it's the same job like a back center player, it changes every time. And now you have to apply your skill set to something different is like nothing else. There's no other sport that allows you to change up a field.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
That's crazy that you say that because I would always talk with Brandon Short about this, and that's kind of why he made the pro tour like court. We could call it, I guess, like a basketball court essentially, because he was like, we would talk about how paintball doesn't have like its field. You know what I mean? So it is really interesting in that regard that
But I don't.
every time player. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think it needs to. I love
No,
that
I
it
agree.
doesn't have its field.
I think it's great for the one-on-one. I think it's a great court for
I agree.
one-on-one. I really like that, like a kid on the other side of the planet could set up those temples and get really good at that and play one-on-ones and then maybe come and play for the title or something along those lines. But it's
The
crazy.
difference though is like one-on-ones are being played the same way no matter what the field layout is. In my opinion, I think it's the same fundamentals. Totally. You're not shooting off the break really. Yeah. You're going to blind each other out the same way, you're going to lose each other the same way, but you don't add the like, oh, I went to a small pin by accident
exactly
in a real layout. So like I don't mind that not changing for the one-on-ones.
Right.
It's
same.
Yeah.
I agree.
Even for every fight.
Like how they change the layout, and then like you said, each player kind of has to redefine himself a little bit and hone in on a whole new skill set or way of approaching that kind of a layout because it's ever changing, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah, it's
so
dude.
fun.
Keeps you on your toes.
Because you can move something 3 feet and the whole field's different depending on that bunker.
Yep.
And so like there's an infinite number of paintball fields that we can play. And like, you end up looking forward to that. What is the next layout? What's it going to look like? Is my spot going to be hard or easy? Am I going to get to be the guy who's in position for success, or am I going to be doing a job the whole time? It's like there's a lot of variables, and it keeps most of us coming back.
Sure.
So question about layouts, Nick. Do you think that the NXL, or do you support leagues doing blind layouts, or do you think layout releases are good?
To be honest, I don't really care. I think that like I can read a field pretty quickly, and okay, so it would be really fun to have a field like just you show up because everyone's going to be figuring it out at the same time. But is that the best show of professionalism
Ah,
where people are taking large risks? Whereas if you practice a field, you can take a plan to the situation, and then you're really trying out minds versus like I don't know, like Fedorov really wants this pin shot to work, but it's not working, and he's trying it out in an event, and now you've just wasted one of the best players in the world's talent on something that he could have practiced for a day and been like, "Yeah, I'm never doing that
you
again."
got to practice
Like
it for
I
5 minutes, and be like,
for
oh,
you're
that
right,
doesn't work.
exactly.
Right.
So blind layouts are really fun in that way because it's a little more chaos, and the tournament will evolve a little bit more throughout. There'll be a larger evolution, which is interesting, but I think that's going to happen regardless of 2 weeks of
Pe-
practice or not. So
People like to say the argument is better players will play better with blind layouts versus not blind layouts. What do you think about
I would
that?
agree with that.
Really?
I would agree with that. I
I
think
think
better players on a blind layout are going to play much better than players that are worse that didn't get to practice either.
yes,
I
but
think
are
the
you
practice is the great equalizer on a tournament
so
layout.
see I don't because
Interesting.
I think better players when they have a couple weeks on the layout, they're going to figure out stuff that the less experienced players will never figure out. And so when you show up
No,
to the
that's a really good point.
yeah, like that and I've been on both sides of this. At first I was like, "Oh yeah, better players you show up on a blind layout, like we're going to be able to figure it out faster because we know what to look for." So there's that element for sure. But
Yeah, actually, you know what? Now that you say that, I am gonna change my position on that because I think better players are gonna play as a team more, and they're gonna
yeah.
know weak and strong spots of the
Yeah.
field, and whereas worse players are gonna be just flying by the seat of their pants anyway.
Right,
So,
right,
like, they're
right,
showing
right,
up with
right.
just hope
Right.
and a dream and running down the
Right.
field, and if a better team doesn't get a chance to figure out what those weak spots of the field are and the strong spots,
Exactly.
yeah,
They can have more
you
success.
totally changed my mind with that comment.
I
So I
appreciate
agree with you
yeah,
actually.
right? Cause yeah, if it's a blind layout, like you get that one surprise, but that team wins the point. They'll win that point, and that could be the deciding factor in a match. Whereas a very experienced team takes that 2 weeks, and you're going to see the pinnacle of. I know for me personally, I know my game's different than a lot, but I don't like to blindly make moves. A lot of my stuff is very calculated. I like to be very disciplined and efficient in my moves. I want controlled aggression. That's just my personal style. It's not the best style. It's just my style. And I know that when I practice a layout, if I could get really comfortable with the if this, then that, and I can train for it, I can make stuff happen in the tournament that looks like a off the whim amazing move, but it's very
Yeah.
systematic. It's not off the whim. It's very
The
like,
other team put themselves in the position to
yeah,
let you do that, and since
exactly.
you've seen that
Yeah.
in your practice, you
Yes.
can now put it to
Yeah,
use.
that and I'm like I can see the angles of bunker. So I'm okay. I can get to the 50 Dorito really fast because I know if I go to Dorito 1, I have to do two things. I put the guy in front of me in, I wrap, I put the center guy in, and I go. And so for me, it makes me play faster, more creative, and more aggressive. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's very different than if I play a blind layout. Like my first weekends of practice are always my worst. When the layout just comes out, I'm like, because I'm trying stuff, I'm experimenting. So I would hate to go to an event and that be my first day because I think that's the equalizer. Whereas if I have time to dissect the field, I'm like, okay, I've figured this out more than majority.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I you totally changed my mind on that. I agree with that sentiment completely. I think that, like, in being able to break something down better than someone else is the whole fun of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And if you just throw everyone into the puzzle, it is going to be an equalizer in the sense that uh, very strong fundamental players will do well in certain situations, and some people might want to see that, but like I think crafty veterans that don't necessarily have the best fundamentals will still also succeed in a blind layout. But I agree with you that the whole point is to get the best product of human creation. And when we're creating these plans and these ideas and how we're going to do something, you spent 2 weeks on it straight with a whole group of minds that also have a similar affinity towards this, then like it's more interesting as a competitor, 100%. I think that it'd be as a someone just watching, it would make almost no difference. And that's why I think the most important thing to translate to people that don't really understand paintball is how complex it is compared to other sports. I mean, other sports are very complex. The biggest ones, like football, super complex, but also still so simple
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's like get the ball down the field. Paintball's like go hit the buzzer right now. But that same strategy for both is like you need everyone to do their job. You need everyone to be in the position they need to be in at certain moments and, do all of the right things when the lights are on and everyone's watching. So, like, I think it would be better. That's why now I was still in my previous point going to go with I would rather have 2 weeks to practice on a field, but I think that you're right that it does make the cream rise to the top, I guess.
Yeah.
I love it. And
Yeah, you're getting up.
there's the conversation too from people that want to push a blind layout. It's that when you have more time on the field, less moves happen because you figure out how to lock things down differently. I've always been on the other side of that. I personally think more moves happen because you figure out the really good players, the Fedorovs, J-Rabs, yourself through the middle, Tyler, the top players, right? They figure out, okay, this is how people are going to lock the field down. Here's how I can break this seam. And it's even more skill. It's even more talent, and I really stand by that. I hope the NXL kind of listens to that, but
You're not wrong, dude. And that's
No,
exactly right.
I agree with you. It definitely makes it a much harder thing to do to make a big move.
Yeah,
Much, much harder.
for sure.
And so like that's why it makes it more interesting. God, I would hate to see a blind layout Friday when people aren't even helping each other on the field and someone makes a big move because someone was just doing something dumb.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like that to me is not interesting.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, they just didn't know what to do, but it
Exactly.
had nothing to do with their talent.
Exactly.
That to me is just bad luck
Right.
at
Yeah.
that point. So
That's interesting.
Totally.
So, Nick, after playing with Impact for so long, obviously, Bart took you in and has been an amazing owner. Kind of describe what it's been like, being with Bart and playing for Impact and what that's done for your life overall.
yeah, in the same way that I was talking about Dave having that ability to see the field, Bart has this amazing ability to structure people.
Yes.
And that's one of the biggest things that has given him so much success in the automotive industry and then in paintball too. He is a guy that you want to work for. He's a guy that you want to play for. He really inspires you. He walks the walk. He's someone who works way harder than anyone else you see around him, but he's doing it with a smile on his face and he doesn't care what kind of shoes he has on. You know what I mean?
I love it.
He's just doing it. And he's
I loved playing
amazing
for Bart.
guy.
Yeah, I just want to give a major shout out. I doubt they listen to this, but to Bart and the entire Yakimic family, like we love you guys. And
yes,
you know what?
Absolutely.
What they've done for paintball is something that will be remembered forever. They have set the bar, they've raised the standards, and it's an amazing paintball family, and just major love to the Yakimics.
And I just want to say how much I love Jo and how much she meant to the whole paintball community, and she is going to be so dearly missed. And my heart goes out to you, Nick, and the team, and everybody who's had to, go through that tragedy. And we'll never forget Jo either. She is such an amazing woman. I have so many great memories of when I played on Impact, of Jo and Bart, like you're saying, just phenomenal people. And just, I have the utmost respect for the whole organization. And I can only imagine what it's been like to be with them for, like you said, this is your 7th year coming up here.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful to say about Jo because, like there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. And I have known her a lot less time than a lot of the people around me. So I know that she's left a large hole and probably will leave a large hole in the paintball industry as a whole. But
She was such a beautiful
the
person, dude. I love
and
her.
she passed that down on
Yeah.
yeah.
Every single time I
It's
saw
great.
her, she had a big smile on her face. I'll never forget, we were at the Germany event, and well, Nick, you were there. I was by myself in Luxembourg, eating at a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Because like I was staying there the night. My flight was early in the morning. None of my teammates were with me. I saw you guys randomly walking down the street. You guys invited me to dinner, and Joe was like just the kindest out of everybody. I felt a little out of place. Not really, when I'm at tournaments, I feel like other teams are the enemy in a way,
Oh, of course.
So like,
Yeah, of
it
course.
was kind of weird, but Joe is like just so welcoming, and just every time I've seen her, such an amazing, beautiful soul with a massive smile on her face and a true love for paintball, and that's how I will remember her.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I'll definitely remember her in the lessons that the same way that she made you feel accepted, she did that to everybody that kind of crossed her path. She didn't care what you were.
Right.
She was
Yeah.
going to give you a
Yeah.
smile, and if you were doing something that wasn't right, she'd give you a piece of your mind.
Absolutely.
And like that's something that I definitely am going to bring with me in the future is, like just being true to what you think's right and wrong, but then also being so loving and accepting to the journeys that other people are on and how they're deciding to live their life.
Yeah.
And like joining Impact, that was one of the biggest factors. Like I mean, you have Bart, who like you look up to as a father figure because he's so successful, and he does these things with a smile on his face and so much enthusiasm. And then you have Joe, who's gonna coddle you and welcome you in a very like nurturing way. So like playing for the Yaks is, I mean, Dave always says it. He's like, you wouldn't want to play for any other team, and it's so true. And I've been really blessed to have them in my life, and like Zach and Zane are wildcats.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're such strong personalities, and that's totally because their parents are also such strong people.
Yeah.
And so they're awesome to hang around with.
Oh,
And
for sure.
I can't wait to get back and
Yeah.
start shitting on each other and making jokes, and
I know. Dude,
in a really friendly way.
I'll never forget growing up on Oakland Assassins with like Danny Miller and Josh Davey. They were both on
Josh
my
Davey,
team. Yeah.
yeah.
So like just that, I don't know how to describe it. They're just the like happy go lucky, good hearted, people, and just fun to be around. And it definitely had a profound effect on me hanging around that type of cultural vibe of the that Canadian spirit. And it left a huge impact on my life.
Well, trust me, you definitely carry that torch for sure. So like it impacted you, and you're continuing. So that's
Absolutely,
awesome that
brother.
you loved that and then became that,
Totally.
That's a really powerful thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're the best, man. Great people. And then so obviously you guys are both part of BKI together.
Yes.
And is there I'm actually part of BKI as well, on the back burner a little bit right now, but hopefully be making more of an appearance in there soon.
That's awesome.
How has the whole BKI camp had an effect on, obviously this is a newer paradigm with the BKI in the last few years, but with training and then also personal development on your own part?
Marcelo, you want to field that one first, or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean,
were you asking both of us?
I think it was asking you, but I would love to elaborate on it.
Okay.
I'm
Yes,
always
please,
down
please.
to talk about BKI because I mean, Nick, we sat in the back of the summer camp area and had this exact conversation, right? And
Yes, we
you were the one that said like, look, 7, 8, 9 of these kids, if they continue on the course with this program, with what we've been doing, in 5 to 7 years, they're going to be the top level pros in the game, and it's
not even just ready to play pro,
right,
but like a good pro player.
Exactly. Which is a major difference, right? There's a lot of players that break.
It's a major difference.
And there's players that are coming through the BKI camp that are so committed, so dedicated, so much talent. All it's going to take is the continued experience. And if they stay with it, there's players that we watch at these events and we're like, they've got it. They have exactly what it takes. And they're not going to just be a pro player that comes on the scene and plays a couple of events and then misses an event because he's on a vacation or this and that. These are dedicated players that have committed everything to the game, and they have everything it takes to be a top level player, to take our spots. We don't talk about players that are coming up that are going to take our spots at all, because they're just not really around, you know. But there's players through the BKI camp that definitely are poised to do so.
And that's one of the things that's really cool when you were talking about Aftermath staying together. And I think we had this little convo too, is like all of the talent and skill that came out of the Aftermath camp, it dispersed itself among the league. And those players, how they still are really, really amazing players, and they're passing that knowledge down to their teammates
Right.
now. Dude, these kids are going to be the same
Yeah,
thing.
totally.
Like I genuinely see like people coming out of that camp being like a Marcelo, a Mouse, a Dalton, like those players that you're like, damn, like I wish that guy was on my team, or I don't want to play against him. And like to me, that's a super rewarding thing, because I mean, anytime you get to learn something from someone that's already further down the path than you, it saves you time. And like they're saving time, so they're going to be better than us. Me and Marcelo are eventually going to run out of our glass half full, and it'll be empty because they'll know it all and they'll be
Yeah.
better at it. And
Right.
we'll have aged gracefully out of the sport by then. But like I think that like I will be super stoked to see, especially some of the kids that like had that same fire I did at their age, was like, dude, just tell me everything. Like just tell me everything, and then I'll put that into my own play. And that's what they're doing. And so like in the same way I was saying, like this is the way that I can give and feel like I have a purpose in terms of paintball besides playing, is passing on what I know to people that don't know how complex this game can be, and make it even more complex. Because again, Marcelo and I are still on our journey to be
Yeah,
better.
totally.
Like we're so far, but yet like we always see ourselves as like, dude, I could do this. We'll learn how to do those things and then verbalize them and give them to these people that are interested. And man, there's gonna be some really, really good players, and I'm pumped to like be watching the webcast being like, man, I knew that guy was gonna make it. I knew he was gonna be good, you know?
Totally. It's gonna happen. And a big thing too is Tyler's getting his feet wet with this side of things, but we want Tyler to be part of the BKI crew too, because honestly, I've been lucky enough to do a couple clinics with Tyler, and the way he teaches and his passion for the game is pretty unparalleled. And I know our organization, BKI, could definitely benefit from having Tyler. And he shares the same vision and dream as all of us, which is seeing these kids finally, like you said, Nick, on the webcast, where we're like,
Yeah.
damn.
And deserve to be
And
there.
actually, you know what I want more than anything is I want to be in a team meeting scouting, saying, hey, this kid right here, Colton, he's going to be going into the snake. We have to watch out for him. That's what I want more than anything. Like if that could happen, are you kidding me? That'd be so tight. That'd be so tight.
Or like when I was saying before, getting the opportunity to be a coach with a semi-funded team, I'll know who I'm taking.
Right, exactly.
They're like, oh, we're building a team. Don't worry, I got a pool.
Exactly. And it's an amazing thing though, because in the history of paintball, there has not been this opportunity. And Nick, you're actually a testament to that as well, because the area that you grew up in, it's not like you had any of the top pro teams there. It's a much smaller scene.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get noticed. You know, if your team didn't go pro, realistically, there's a very low chance you got noticed, you know, and got picked up from impact. And so BKI is offering that, which is what I'm always going to preach, because I think it's the most amazing thing. It's a way for players to get noticed. You know, if you think you have what it takes, sign up and get
Tyler
noticed.
just shout out some kid that no one's ever heard of. A team to pick him up because he's good enough. And like if Tyler hadn't have gone to that clinic, he would have never seen that person and been like, gave him the nod, you know. And when we're talking about Joe Rogan and the comedy story, you know, like he always talked about like sitting next to Mitzi and people getting the nod of like, hey, you can be a regular. It's really, really important to have that that clout come with your talent, because there's a lot of people out there with talent that, I mean, they just become obscure, and for not really a ton of faults of their own. But if we're opening those doors to allow coaches and players to see these players that have that same drive that they want on their team, dude, there's going to be opportunity. So I'm pumped to see what comes from that.
It's like if you're growing crops, you have to build the canals, the channels for the water to flow to let that crop grow, man. And that's what these types of things are doing, is we're building those channels to allow the growth of paintball to flourish. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's what it's all about. It's super rewarding. There's nothing more rewarding than that, you know, like you said. It's amazing
Yeah,
stuff.
it's the most rewarding thing that I'm doing right now. And like Marcelo, like I have this like amount that I've taught, and then the amount I've taught in person is like even bigger. And then I'm trying to figure out a way to verbalize a lot of this stuff like we're doing on
Right,
podcasts. So
right.
I love when we get to talk about stuff, because now like I have a couple ideas that I'm gonna write down of like how to verbalize an idea,
Yes.
so that if someone's
Yeah.
listening, they can be like, oh yeah, like I understand pattern recognition now, whatever that stuff is. So like I'm always writing that stuff down, but I want to give it to people in a way where it's not like,
Well,
Yeah.
okay, that sounded complex.
that's
Like,
the key to
thanks.
teaching. Dude. Like that's why I always say you could be the best player in the world, but if you don't know how to teach it, it's an entirely different thing. Like being able to
It
something
is.
is so difficult, and so you have to find a way to truly connect and make sure you get your point across. And you could be the best at something, but not the best teacher. Always. So
Definitely.
it's a skill. It's an art. It really is. It's something that is so difficult to master.
It's interesting nowadays too how much people are starting to finally appreciate the that teachers are pouring in so much of their lives and dedication to making the world and new people better.
Right.
And it's like, why would you not appreciate that? And so like it's kind of interesting, some of the good things I think that'll come out of this pandemic is I've talked to a lot of parents that are like, man, I appreciate my kid's teacher because they deal with this times 30 all day, and they're teaching them stuff. So like,
Damn.
yeah, I think that's an art in itself for sure, is keeping someone's attention, A, and then B, giving them some of the things you know. It's like
Huge,
you got to be able to do both.
huge shout out to all the teachers out there. We miss you and we need you.
Yeah,
We
we
do.
need
We
you
do.
because
Oh man, I
yeah,
know. I'm actually a kindergarten teacher now. I have a
really.
5 year. Well, yeah,
Oh,
because
okay. Yeah.
because my son, with everything that's going on, and he's doing really good. I have a curriculum from one of my relatives who teaches, and I'm running him through the
Oh,
curriculum.
cool.
So it's been going really well. We're doing the ABCs, one, two, threes, and all the basics and good stuff. So he's doing good. It's crazy.
I'd be really interested to see like, especially like ABCs 1 2 3. Is that something that you've mastered as a human, right? It's not like super complex like algebra, but like if kids will get more from hearing it from their parents,
Oh,
like
that
Yeah,
if
is
you have a
interesting,
really
huh?
good connection with your kid, will they learn it faster or will they learn it slower? Like I don't
yeah.
know the answer. I'm just interested.
That is
Like,
very interesting because my son Theo, he's picked it up quick. Like he's doing addition right now. Like I'm running him through some math stuff, and he's picking it up and subtraction. He's got the numbers. We're working on the calendar, months of the year, dates, all that kind of stuff. So it's been
yeah,
really interesting, and I think you're onto something there. I think that maybe some kids may be less receptive, and in my situation, my son, he's being very receptive to the information, which is cool. But yeah, it's definitely probably not the same everywhere.
That's that's
yeah,
that's
it's probably a direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
Oh
Marcelo.
no, yeah, I'm just gonna say like that's because your son really respects you and looks up to you, Ty. Like
It,
you do such a good job with your
we had the
son.
same
Yeah,
thought.
for sure. You know.
Yeah, dude, he's my ace in the pocket. That guy is the best in the world, dude. I love him so
That's
much.
beautiful. I'm sure there's a direct connection to the amount that your kid or the relationship that you have with your child, how much they're willing to learn from you.
There
Absolutely.
there
So
has to be.
sometimes if you don't have a good relationship, you might need to pass that off, and that's fine as long as your kid gets that learning they deserve. But
Yeah.
like if you have a great relationship, I mean, when he's getting bored, when we got to switch things up,
Right,
like
right,
him and you care about him.
right.
Yeah, it's been
Whereas
fun.
like a teacher, you got 10 kids in the class, you just got to move on.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're not getting that. Like that's it.
Yeah, it's been rewarding. I'm super blessed to have this time, and amidst all the madness, I take it as a great opportunity, and I'm grateful for the time that I'm able to share with him. It's been pretty magical stuff. I love him. It's great times.
Magical stuff.
It is, dude. It's
I
like
do
I'm
love it.
teaching him the foundational building blocks of his whole reality, like numbers, letters, making words, making thoughts, and how he's going to produce those thoughts. And like it is magical. It's crazy.
It's incredibly beautiful how you see that, because it is exactly true. And probably a lot of people don't even want to
Yeah,
realize that, but like it is building blocks for his reality. And
totally.
then how he's going to go out and change the world himself all
Yes,
comes from dad teaching him his ABCs.
that's right,
It's
dude.
true.
For real.
It's a alchemy at the purest form, right there.
So
Alchemy.
Nick, one of the brighter minds in the game. Uh,
Yep.
it again, like I just say that because the few conversations we've had, I like the way you think. But professional paintball, what's the future look like, and what do we need to do? One as athletes, two as a league, and three as paintball as a whole. How can we help this sport reach the mainstream?
I think that we need to, as athletes, take it as seriously as we love it. I think that we need to walk the walk in terms of not diminishing paintball as a sport because other people do. We all know when we play, even from the first time, you know how special of a game in a sport that it is. So treat it with respect because a lot of what you do, if you continue with paintball, is going to shape everything that you are. It's your ABCs to reality. So, like, I think that as players, that's our role. I think players at some point, especially on in the pro division, are going to need to be taken more seriously from the league as a whole. But I don't think that we're ready for that yet. I think that eventually paintball will have to go through the same thing that every sport did in terms of paying athletes, and that's what makes people interested is when money's involved. And I think that the league needs to keep going on the path that it's going in terms of trying to make these events happen, caring about the sport, trying to get new sponsors, supporting Go Sports. I think they're in the complete right direction. I think as fans, we should support the finally, and at least as long as I've been playing paintball, this is like one of the first times I've seen the inside of the league and how much they do want to grow it. And so we need to stop diminishing what they're doing because we don't see the bigger picture. We're looking at it through a magnifying glass when they're trying to do way more than we understand. And if we support them, then maybe it'll get to that place that we need it to go or we want it to go.
Yeah.
And so the league, I think, keep doing what you're doing. Please continue to care about it. Players, same thing, care about it, keep doing it. Tell your friends about it. Get people to go out and play. And then, yeah, fans definitely share it with people. Let people know, hey, I'm watching this paintball thing today, and I think this Tyler made this really cool move because of this, and clip it.
Yeah.
Steal the video. I don't give a fuck. Share it with everybody.
Yeah.
And like just let people know how cool it is because it's the best sport. The field changes every time. You're shooting at people. Let's not make it this markers and tag game. It's a combat sport. Just like UFC is, just like football has been. It's this adrenaline pumping, gun battling combat sport, and we can't shy away from that
Yes.
because then we're just lying to ourselves. And I think that like the reasons why we love it, it's share it honestly, and then that's it. Like I think it's the best sport.
Me
It
too.
might not continue to grow, but I know somewhere in my heart that it will because
Yeah.
like it's the only one that you want to keep coming back and playing.
Too much fun.
And like, dude, and in a society that we have right now where everything is we're trying to make everything fair and equal, there's the no more equal sport than paintball. It doesn't matter how big or small you are. It only matters how skilled you are. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, color, doesn't matter. If you put together those skills, you can compete with the best in the world.
Yes.
That's it.
That's one of my favorite things about paintball, dude. And it's just the purest form of fun, man. It's like you have that little kid inside of you that just gets to play like that yeah, you have that tag that I think is like almost hardwired into our DNA. Once again, it's like, that's something that even before paintball, I was always, that cat and mouse kind of game. And even my kids do it. They chase each other around and like,
Yeah.
they're playing this form of paintball that we don't realize we do. And it's kind of like just innately in us. And this is the
Well,
pure form of it.
it's like one of those things that it lets us know what our flight or fight response is. Are we a person that's flight? Are we a person that's fight? And then we get to fight that response because if you're a guy that's always fight, you need to learn discipline, and paintball will teach you that. And if you're someone who's always flight, it gives you the confidence to fight when you need to. So like in the same way that like martial arts and combat sports, they give people that strength or that temperament and they even you out, like paintball is one of the least concussive
Yeah,
or dangerous ways you can learn who you are and then how to mold that in the way that you'd like to see.
for sure. Yeah, it's perfectly put, man. And yeah, like that's why I chose paintball. I was like, I was gonna do like all these aggressive sports, like extreme sports, biking, skating, all these things. Is like no, man, I'm gonna snap myself in half in a couple of years and
Yeah.
paintball. Yeah.
Yeah, you break your leg
Yeah, exactly.
learning how to bike, but like, yeah, you could dive on the ground a whole ton of times. And I mean, I've never seen anyone break their arm, but like a few dislocated
Yeah,
shoulders, but
totally
like
that.
everyone has come out of it pretty well. And there's been no deaths, I don't
No, I
think.
know they
Um,
actually, unfortunately, I do think there was one with like
Tank
someone
flew
got.
off.
Oh, Tank
I
flew
thought there
off.
was one where someone got shot in a weird spot in the temple and passed from a hot gun.
Yeah, I
But
heard
Is
that.
that
but
real though, or is that urban
could be
legends?
urban
I don't
legend.
know.
Could be urban legend. But what I will
I want
say,
to see the
I
story. Send it to me if you
I
got
agree.
it.
I need to look into it before speaking about it on a public platform. 100%. But what I will say for a fact is, for a long time, paintball was considered the second safest sport behind golf in all of the world, as far as like serious injuries and deaths and stuff like that, out of all the
Yeah,
other ones. Because it is, if you're following the rules, you're wearing your mask, you're doing this stuff you're supposed to do, it's incredibly safe. It truly is.
absolutely.
So
And there's user error to everything.
exactly, man. Yeah, of
If you're
course.
golfing during a rainstorm and you get struck by
Wait,
lightning, is that considered a golf
hold
death?
on. Well, yes, just like some of the COVID deaths might
See,
be.
but that's what I mean.
But listen, what I have realized is really dangerous in golf, dude.
That's a nice sneak in
Okay,
there.
yes.
There.
So
Towards
okay,
me.
you got to protect yourself if you're not very good after you hit, because this has happened twice. Once I hit off the tee, and I was hitting back from the blue ones, so that you have tees in front of you as well. And you have these little rock markers on the side of where you can tee off from. So there's like a little boundary. It's usually about like 7 feet wide, and that's where you tee off from. So I was teeing off from these further back ones, and I wind up, boom, get a nice, nice heavy hit. The ball, I topped it, so the ball didn't get any air, so it went like line drive, and it bounced right off the tee, the rock, and straight
what?
back, and it flew right by me, and I was like, oh my, like that could have knocked me out, would have knocked all my teeth out,
Oh,
like
yeah.
maybe taken my eye out. Like, it was so fast, and it was so funny too, because it was such a bad hit. But then this just happened in Mesquite, because me and my little brother went to a golf course out there. I was in a bunker. I got stuck in a sand bunker, and there's like this huge grass lip. And so I'm like, okay, here's what they say. You're supposed to go full swing, and you want to hit like an inch behind the ball when you're in the sand, so the sand propels the ball out of the bunker. So you go full on. So I go,
That sounds
so I
fun.
go, dude, I go full on, but I didn't hit an inch behind. I connected with the ball. So the ball just launched, and it hit the lip of the grass and came right back towards me. And I literally like
It's 2 for 2.
2 for 2. I mean, these are like, like a month apart, but still I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I could have gotten knocked out right there. Like, I could have lost all my teeth for sure.
Yeah.
Also, like
there's
when someone tees off and then they're like 4,
yeah,
and you got a
yeah,
ball.
exactly. There's risk in every sport. I think golf was the safest one, and paintball was right behind. But there's risk in everything,
Yeah,
man.
there's risk in
Totally.
leaving your house.
That's right. That's why Alex Frazier, he says, "Don't ever leave your house,
Don't
man."
do it.
That's what
That's a man of low risk.
Yeah.
High risk
A
on
high
the paintball
reward.
field, low risk outside of the paintball field.
Yeah,
That's right.
he gets to live his highest self in the
He
netting.
does,
That's
Good
right.
for him.
Oh, he
Yeah.
goes for it, dude. He will bunker you in a heartbeat.
Yes, he will. I love it.
I know, dude. He's the best. Well, I have another question before we close this out. I want to know if you could give us, I know you love reading. What's a good book recommendation for people out there who like reading books and stuff?
Oh man, I don't love reading.
No?
I like listening to books.
Okay.
Oh,
What's
there
a
we
what's
go.
a good
I'm
book
a-
that you're listening
I'm
to?
if you want me to take an impromptu nap, then yeah, I'll read. But
What
all right,
about like an audio book, a
interesting
good audio book?
audiobook right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I really at the moment, I've really been liking fantasy
There we
stuff.
go.
And stuff that it's like aliens or magic or
Dude,
whatever.
yes.
So like the self-help and stuff, I used to like love sort of people that were giving you a direction in life, but I wanna tune out now. So
Yeah.
let me see. I think The Circle
Mhm.
was one that I listened to recently, and it's kind of like dystopian Actually, you know what? Screw that. My favorite book that I've ever read of all time on one of the banned books list, 1984,
Yeah.
George Orwell, and I think that is something that especially now everyone should read. Really entertaining, lets you know how you're being potentially controlled in
Yeah.
a sort of fantasy story, but
I love it.
it's really applicable to everything that you'll
Yes.
see.
I mean,
One of the best books ever written.
oh, it sounds amazing, and I think we would be lying to ourselves if we didn't think or have an inclination that there's some type of control going on here.
Totally.
Yeah, man, and that one
Yeah,
will definitely blow your mind if you haven't
I love
read
it.
it.
Yeah,
But
my
one of the
favorite.
most famous books,
I love it. And
for
just
sure.
I'll put one out there.
Please.
Dr. Joe Dispenza has a book that I've been reading for a little bit, Becoming Supernatural, which is a really cool book. He kind of ties,
Becoming Supernatural.
yeah, he ties like real hard math with like the mysticism of life as well, and that like kind of Eastern philosophy type of way of thinking, and he brings them and marries it all together. It's a
Wow.
really interesting book. Yeah, have to
All
check
right,
that
I'll
one.
have to give that one a go.
It's
Let's see if Audible's got to have it.
yeah, I think
You
they
don't
do.
pay $14 a month for nothing.
They do actually. I know they do for a fact.
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect. Perfect.
Nick,
Yeah.
you ever read or listen to anything from Malcolm Gladwell?
Yes. I've done the Sapiens. I've done one
Sapiens
other
is a
one.
different author. That's
Oh wait.
I can't even pronounce his name. Sapiens is a different author though.
Oh, okay. Malcolm Gladwell, is that
Blink,
the pyramids
Blink,
and
Tipping Point. No, not the pyramids. So he's got David and Goliath, which is a very popular book.
Okay.
The Tipping Point,
Yes.
Blink. I love the way he writes. It's so easy to understand and captivating, but it's all like science-based stuff on basically why we are the way we are and how things happen.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote the one on people that were like extraordinary in their
Yes. Yeah.
Outliers.
Yeah, Outliers. Exactly. That's another great one.
Okay,
Yes.
yes.
Outliers.
All right,
Amazing
sweet,
book.
sweet.
So Outliers was maybe, dude, it's so tough to choose. Blink is great because it really teaches you to follow your instincts. And it explains
Awesome.
scientifically how your instincts aren't just some quote unquote gut feeling. It's actually your brain processing the best information it has without creating an emotional, unbiased opinion. So that like initial feeling you have
Wow.
about something is more often than not, studies have shown over and over and over that the less thought you put into stuff, the more accurate your decision is. And it's very interesting, dude. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend Blink because it's, again, your brain is so efficient, so powerful that when it's presented with a situation, it makes a very quick decision. People are like, oh, that's just your gut feeling. You have to put thought into it. But it's your brain actually processing everything you've learned up until that point without any emotional bias. And it makes the most efficient and accurate decision at that point. It's amazing. Another good one.
I'm definitely going to get into that. Like brings me up something that Bart always tells us, especially if we've had a bad game. He'll always say something like, I saw you guys thinking out there.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Because he wants you've already put in the work. Just react.
Yes. You've already thought.
You've already thought.
Exactly.
It's time to react. So he doesn't want to see you thinking out there.
Yeah.
Don't be thinking, just do.
Dude, that's
that.
When I coach my divisional teams, I say the same thing. I say, hey, listen, we work every weekend on learning so much over and over. I'm trying to instill all these different concepts and ideas. When we're on the field, I don't want you to be thinking. You need to already have thought, and now you need to act. You need to respond, you know, and like that's so valuable. Another great one though is The Tipping Point, and I love The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell because it goes over examples, real world examples of like one example was in New York City crime back in, I think it was the 90s. I'm probably butchering the dates, but they could not get petty level like crime, little petty robberies and stuff like that. They couldn't get it to go away in the subway areas, no matter what they did. And finally, the one decision they made was like, okay, we're going to cover up all the graffiti. We're going to repaint everything. They repainted everything, and that dropped the crime like 70%, something ridiculous. But it goes.
I've heard of that. Okay,
it goes into all of
really
these
cool
examples of these companies or entrepreneurs or science, whatever they are. They have these amazing ideas that should succeed right away, but they don't succeed. They continue to struggle until the tipping point. And the tipping point is always just some kind of rudimentary, like little shift in society. It's one little thing that totally changes the entire outcome of whatever that idea was, and it's like, it just goes to show that if you're trying to build a business, say, you could be so close to extreme success and not even know it. All it takes is that one little detail changing your marketing a little bit, like there was, I forget the example off the top of my head, so I'm just going to make one up that is relative to it. It's like Coca-Cola, for example, for a long time had Coca-Cola. Oh, no, here we go. I'll use one from the book, Blue Moon. The orange slice. The orange slice had nothing to do with Blue Moon for so long. Blue Moon was just a beer,
so funny.
and it wasn't a success. For no matter what, same flavor, same everything, didn't catch on for years. And then finally someone came in and was like, hey, why don't we put an orange slice on it? They put the orange slice on it, and Blue Moon launched, just blew up simply from that little garnish. And it's like that is so true with life and with everything that you're trying to do. You could be so close. You just got to keep expanding and evolving and trying new things. And eventually you're going to find something that catches.
Also, that badass little orange slice with the mohawk that they put on the bottles and stuff.
Yeah,
like that dude's rad,
Totally.
But like, to the gaming thing, like unlocking that next level, maybe it was something that you haven't thought of in that previous level that you need to take care of.
Right.
Yeah.
And who knows who's keeping control of all that stuff. But
yeah.
Levels. Like clean up your subway, you idiots, and then maybe you stop having crime. It's like, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who would have thought?
So
that's right, dude.
So my question for you, Nick, before we let you go, and this unfortunately might lead, well, not unfortunately, I love it, but it might lead to a longer one.
Okay.
What do you feel about the Pentagon releasing the fact that they've discovered unidentified crafts, like materials that are not of this world, is their wording? And why have we not heard anything since? This was like 2 months ago. So like, what's going on there?
Okay, this is why I think you need to read 1984.
Okay.
Because they talk about pretty much everything being the opposite of what it should be, so that you're confused all the time. And so something like really like fake news, those are two opposites that should not go together. But you can't trust either one now, so therefore there's no truth. And the Pentagon releasing UFO photos, I think I would rather the Pentagon be doing the research and telling us what they are. But the Pentagon giving us more questions than answers is a reverse of what they should be doing, and therefore more confusing. It doesn't give any light to anything. It just gives more questions. So I think that like the truth is being clouded.
Do you think that they actually
falseness.
did discover?
You know what? I have no idea. I would love there to be aliens, but if there was UFOs, then like do something about it. I don't know.
I want to know. I'm so curious.
Contact them. Why are you showing me pictures? I'm an idiot.
Don't know why they're not still talking about it. Like, I want to hear more about this. That's so fascinating. It's insane. Come on, give us more.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they think that we're getting ready to understand more about everything, and like, let's see how they deal with these photos, and then like if they go crazy, then they're feeding us truth at a small rate, but like.
It's
honestly, I have no idea. I'd love it to be true, but
there's a profound amount of stuff going on right around us as we speak in this very moment. Our eyeballs and our receptive capabilities as a human being can only perceive so much of let's just say light. Your eye can only see a very small spectrum of the perceivable light in the universe. So there could be different forms of light all around that we can't see that, would be
UV.
Yeah.
We can't see UV.
Totally.
But we know it exists.
Exactly. Yeah. There's just so much going on that, it could be right in front of our face as we're speaking right now, and we wouldn't even know,
Totally.
I think that's why, Tyler, we got along super well when we were talking in the hotel room, because like one thing that we agreed on was that anyone who's really sure that all of their reality that's built is correct is like that's basically madness.
That goes back. That's my mantra: is be flexible in your thinking. Like physical flexibility is great, but your mind has to be flexible, dude. Like that is the most important thing. Let your mind be flexible.
And that's why, like, when you asked me to do this podcast, I was like, yeah, it's just going to be
Oh,
what we
yeah.
would have done anyway, which
Yeah.
was have this conversation. You know what I mean? With some questions that other people would probably like to
Totally.
hear in between, but then
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
you know, we would have been in a hotel room having these
For
conversations.
Totally.
anyway,
for
so.
those
yeah.
that have not listened to or don't listen to Joe Rogan, there's a Joe Rogan podcast with Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar is
Yeah.
a genius. He's a scientist that is he a scientist? I'm butchering that. What did he do? He worked for the military. Bob
At Area 51.
Yeah, exactly. He
right.
got brought in to work specifically for Area 51. He's now considered an American conspiracy theorist, but you know, he was hired to reverse engineer basically aircrafts, you know, like unidentified crafts that landed, and the government didn't know what these were. And he has been telling this story for over like 30 years of how there's these systems that allow these aircrafts to move in a way that nothing in our known world can do. And through like gravity propulsion is very interesting. And what's even more interesting is now the Pentagon is finally coming out confirming some of the stuff that he was saying for 30 years. And people have labeled him as a total psycho, entirely just crazy, written him off. And it's really interesting. If you guys want a good listen, go listen to that Rogan podcast with Bob Lazar, his most recent one. It's really good, dude.
It's always a bummer when people write people off for no reason.
Right.
Like, especially
Just because
like,
it doesn't
for example,
work with their brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if they're accused of something and they believe the accusation without having any personal connection or evidence base of anything.
Yeah.
Like, don't write people off
Totally.
just because you have a feeling of your own.
Yeah.
You know, like if you really are interested, then start collecting some evidence.
do the work.
And do the work. Yeah. Don't make anything as simple as just Bob Lazar, you know?
Yeah.
Make it more complicated if you're really interested.
Dude, that's full circle.
Or if you care.
That's full circle,
Full
right
circle.
there.
I always try to do it.
Dude, and you know, we're hitting on something too with the crafts. It all has, like you said, Marcel, it's gravity, dude. That's the name of the game. You know, the gravity is the key factor in developing that kind of stuff. And that's how you like,
not aircraft, spacecraft, gravity craft.
Yes. Yeah. For real.
Dude.
It's a whole different dimension.
Yeah, exactly. And you can, you know, with gravity, you can bend time and do a lot of really interesting things. And that's the theories, you know, that they say out there. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, bend space and time. That's how they think aliens can move so fast intergalactically.
Yeah. If you really want to pump money into the space, like NASA and all that stuff, let people know that if they travel faster the speed of the light, then they can go back in time. So
dude, that's
all of that money you're spending on anti-aging cream, you know, put it into some time travel.
I like that.
That's the best anti-aging you'll ever have.
Or you can also
why are you wasting that money?
You could also
That's
put
great.
money into, on my way back from Nevada today, I stopped at Alien Jerky. Got a bunch of I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's
no, you ate some alien.
Wait, Tyler, do you know what Alien Jerky is?
No.
Oh, dude, it's like it's like a very famous landmark when you're driving from Vegas area to Southern California. It's right on the side of the road. They've got this like big spaceship. You go in. It's the best beef jerky I've ever had in my life. Yeah, from a young age, it's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, but you go in and like their whole it's all space themed. It's super badass, but I don't. It's very expensive too. I donated.
Was it better than that teriyaki pork that we had at the end of Boston Paintball?
Dude,
Ooh,
no, it
that was
not.
pretty
That
good,
was
dude.
No, it was not better than that. Different things, but better.
I think about that every now and then.
That was so good.
Okay. Just making sure. I was like, I gotta drive to Alien Jerky.
You should. What I do dislike is they've franchised and now they have like 5 locations along that drive. They used to only just have one, like the main one. But it's so good. It's delicious, man. It's amazing.
I'll have to look into that. Absolutely.
So try it.
That's awesome.
Damn.
Yep. Well, what do you say, boys?
This was a fun one.
Good times, man. Yeah, and Nick, thank you for coming on, dude. Everything you do in paintball with all the training that you're doing, your story, obviously, of how you climbed the ranks to be playing for one of the greatest teams in the world. And, you know, just stay safe out there and have fun. Hopefully you get out into the nature some more and go climb those mountains. And then hopefully we'll see you soon in Florida, dude.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna
definitely.
say.
And thank you guys for being so hospitable in terms of putting up the Impact logo and,
Yeah.
just being your normal selves.
Yeah.
Like, you never know when people are going to be stage Marcelo or
Yeah.
stage Tyler. And this is,
Yeah.
you guys are what you are. And
That's it.
that's awesome. So I
Hey,
Genuine.
really
Nick,
look
I do,
forward
real,
to
real
seeing.
quick,
Yep.
I gotta ask, do you have any info on World Cup? You think it's happening? I know a lot of the listeners want to know about Cup.
Dude, I don't really know. Okay, so I'd love to play World Cup, but I'd also love for them to, if the right thing to do is to not do it, then don't do it. So,
Mm,
I'm a humble human
yeah.
and living my life, and if it's not the right thing, don't do it. I'm okay with that. But if it is the right thing, I'd love to play it and shoot some people.
Yeah.
I honestly don't
Don't know.
know.
Yes,
So,
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
we're supposed to have some news this week by the NXL.
That's right.
That's what I heard. I heard that as of last week they had the green light, and as of this week they're going to confirm. So we'll see. I know there's still some pro
yeah,
teams that might not even go, even if it is happening. So it's going to be weird.
yeah,
I personally feel like, hey, if there's an event that we could go and play, I want to play just for the excitement of paintball. If it doesn't have the normal gravity and magnitude of a traditional World Cup, that's fine to me. We're in COVID times. Let's just get out there and be safe, do the best we can, but get back to competing a little bit. That's my
yeah.
opinion on it. So
Yeah.
I I I don't I wish I knew all of the truth on all that
yeah,
stuff in terms of like long-term effects of COVID,
yes,
Yeah.
you're
stuff like that. And I don't want to selfishly have any long-term effects for something that I wanted to do for a short period of time for fun.
Yeah.
And I really don't want other people to suffer because I wanted to have my own fun.
totally.
So
Absolutely.
like I don't know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if it happens, I'm gonna go. That's just my
Absolutely.
stance
right.
on it.
Yeah, no, and I think that's so amazing that you say that, because that's the key, is safety first. We want to make sure nobody's gonna get hurt. I mean, point blank. That's
Absolutely.
all that matters, and if we can do it safely, that's great. And if it can't be done, then we'll wait and we'll do
Then just
whatever.
yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah,
Let's buy it out if it needs to be done. But I hope
yeah,
there's people that know more than me that are making
yeah.
a more informed decision than I could make.
Absolutely, brother.
That's it.
Totally, dude. Love
Hell
that.
yeah, man. Well, hey, Nick, we're gonna have to have you back on because again, we
All
talked
right.
about the wormhole kind
Yeah.
of stuff, but dude, we could talk to you for hours and days, man. We could have just good conversation.
For
We
sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and we can just do that too without recording it if we need
Yeah.
to, But we can throw some microphones on there.
I love
like
it, man.
I appreciate you guys.
Dude, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. And you stay
For
safe
sure.
out there, all right?
Yeah, keep succeeding.
Yes, you
everyone
too.
listens to this. You guys you're in for a treat for the future.
Thank
So
Yeah, baby.
have a good one,
We'll
guys.
talk
Let's go.
Later. Ladies and gentlemen, as advertised, that was a spectacular show with Nick LeValley. What an absolute dominator on and off the field. I wish we could have had more time to talk. We're going to have him back on because he is just so insightful, has so much knowledge about the game, such an amazing dude. We love everything he does for the sport. That was just a great episode. We really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please head over to ptgpaintball.com. Check out our website. See if there's any merchandise you would like. You guys can become a Patreon supporter of the show through there. We offer some special incentives for our Patreons to get discounts on all the PTG merch, and we're trying to figure out a way to give you guys some exclusive content, hang out with you guys, and really converse. There's open dialogue in the Patreon page, so hope to see you there. We definitely appreciate it. Our website is brought to you by Rusty Glaze. Rusty owns a business called Concert Pursuit, and what he does is builds websites. So if you're an entrepreneur, a field, a player, whatever it is, and you need a website so that your business can look more professional, Rusty is your guy. Check out our website. You can see the work that he does. Get in contact with him if you need it. And again, we can't thank everybody enough. All of you supporters, especially our Patreons, just truly unbelievable. The love that you guys have shown us. We are so thankful for you guys, and we are going to continue to put out awesome content so that you guys can continue on this journey with PTG fam with us. We love you guys so much. Thank you very much, and we'll see you very, very, very soon.